your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Hi, I'm not Allen Stiles. Whitey Gleason filling in for Allen Stiles. As far as we know, Allen Stiles' wife has not delivered their second child yet. We're still waiting on any news, which we will share with you. Speaking of news, of course, we have the Jake Moody news, which we'll get to in just a moment. Before we do, I just want to say Kyle Ledbetter here today. Kyle Ledbetter is part of the show every day. This is really his show. And I'm just, kind of facilitating. And Kyle has already done just a ton of work on today's show, and I mentioned that for two reasons. One, Kyle, I want to thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm stepping in here. I don't know, how do they do this? What does Allen do? And you come in, you lay out all this stuff. So on the one hand, I want to say thank you. Secondly, I want to say if the show doesn't go well, we know who to blame.
Oh, it's my fault.
Not my I'm kidding. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Whitey. And this is an absolute pleasure. We've only worked together in 10-minute spurts when Jay is a little bit late coming in.
We might have done an hour or two once.
I think we did an hour because Allen was leaving early for something. Yes. But this is an absolute treat today to have Whitey Gleason stepping into the midday show.
Yes, I appreciate that. And thanks, everybody, for hanging with us today. What do you think, Kyle Ledbetter? Jake Moody, according to Tom Pelissero, I know Carmichael Dave, he just beat us to the story. Looks like Jake Moody waived by the 49ers. We're still awaiting official word on who will replace him. I have to admit, I think I'm in the minority. The way Kyle kept talking about it and not doing anything, I thought there was a good chance they were going to keep him around and hope that he kind of righted the ship this week. I have to say, A, wow, good move. B, about freaking time.
I saw that since mid-November, he had made 12 out of 23 total kicks for the 49ers, which is not good for a kicker who prided himself on his accuracy.
Right.
But I also think that once, I believe Pam Oliver was the broadcaster who mentioned,
Dave called her Lisa Salters.
Yikes.
She doesn't even do football, Dave.
I mean, this is extra worse because I was watching the game and they did a whole thing like Pam Oliver inducted into the Broadcasting Hall of Fame over the summer. I was like, it's a Hall of Fame broadcaster, and we just confusing her. But anyways, Pam Oliver mentioned on the broadcast that players on the sidelines were audibly frustrated with Jake Moody. And at that point, once the locker, we saw this with Mike Brown last year, a number of players over the years. Once the locker room is starting to turn on you, your hands are pretty much tied at this point. And we're seeing some of that with the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill right now. Once the players are like, this guy's kind of a joke, it doesn't matter how invested Shanahan or John Lynch might be. You have to make the move. That's
an interesting point, and that might be what ultimately decided it. I know yesterday when I was doing the crossover with the Drive Guys, which was kind of weird. Hey, Drive Guys coming up, talking with Kyle Draper, and he threw out the question, why is it that Kyle Shanahan recognized so definitively that it was time to move on from Trey Lance, but he was so late to come to that decision when it came to Jake Moody? And, of course, as of yesterday, hadn't made that decision. And I was thinking about that. My feeling is this. There's one obvious answer to me. I believe, and this is not necessarily documented, but I'll stand by it. Ultimately, I think Kyle Shanahan had to be talked in to drafting Trey Lance. I think he wanted McCorkle. And now he's got McCorkle, by the way. Be careful what you wish for. But I think that's one of the reasons why once it became apparent, Trey's it's not working out. All right, we got to move on. I think it was kind of a matter of, he was never really the guy I wanted. Jake Moody, my guess is, I wasn't in the war room when they drafted him, but to draft a kicker third, Kyle Shanahan is the one making those really big decisions. Yes, John Lynch is the GM, but Kyle Shanahan runs the show. So for them to draft him third, Kyle Shanahan probably was the one who wanted to do that. So my guess is that was one of the reasons why it was harder for him to decide we got to move off of him. But obviously, it was funny. You couldn't find anyone who cares who said, I think they should keep him around. Literally, I don't think you could find anybody, Kyle.
I don't know where the decision to bring him back came from. Because I think about this when like coaches get fired like 3 weeks into the season. I think it was like Matt Rule a few years ago. When you're making that move, you just shouldn't have brought him back in the first place. Or when a team benches a quarterback in week 2 for a rookie, you should have just played the rookie from the beginning. When you cut a kicker after week 1, that's a sign, or any player, that's a sign you just shouldn't have brought them back in the first place. There's just no way around it. If it's the first game of the season and you're already making the move, which stinks for the Niners because they could have gone out and added another kicking option during the offseason, and now they're going to sign Michael Badgley or Greg Joseph or someone like that.
Well, yeah, Greg Joseph, I would think, would have the inside track. And the company line on why they didn't do what you suggested, Kyle, is because they were going to do that. You know, they gave all the lip service to bringing in Greg Joseph. There's going to be a competition. I remember Matt Barrows, who was on today, of course, on the morning show, Matt Barrows saying this competition might come down to who kicks better in the preseason games. But then before the preseason games even started, Greg Joseph was out, and the 49ers said it was because we had so many injuries. We needed that roster spot. Is that the truth? I'm sure there's some truth to it, but that's why that competition didn't happen. But it looks like Jake Moody lost a competition when there wasn't even one going on. Like they handed him the job and he still couldn't hold it.
Yeah. Well, there's a good joke there about holding a kick, but
yeah.
Moody ended up getting cut ultimately because there are other options out there, right? There's not a lot of kickers, and certainly the great ones are hard to come by. But even in this day and age, like the Detroit Lions signed, I think it's Jake Bates, and that dude hits like 63-yard field goals. He was in the UFL 2 years ago, and now he's one of the best kickers in football, right? Kicking is such a psychological thing that if you bring in another kicker and that kicker just is locked in, quote unquote, I know that's cliche, but like kicking is so psychological that like Younghoe Koo can go from being terrible to the best kicker in football to terrible again, right? It's just, and Moody's probably going through some of that as well. Maybe he'll work it out and someone else will give him a chance, and maybe he'll be a top 10 kicker one day. But it's such a psychological thing that if a guy doesn't have it and the locker room is, the players are like vocally upset with you, just go get another one and see if they can do the same thing.
Then the kicker's negative thoughts are starting to affect the whole team and bringing the whole team down. And you need a guy like, I know Minnesota's kicker nailed one last night before the end of the half. Chris Boswell, that 60-yarder against the Jets Sunday is like, boom. Like, no question.
Could have made it from 65.
Yes. And he knew that.
Yeah. Boswell's one of the best in the game, which, like, when you have one of those good ones, you hold on to it. I was on with Dave yesterday, and they made the joke, like, what would someone trade for Brandon Aubrey right now from the Cowboys? Because if Moody you're drafting in the 3rd round, and, teams have taken kickers that early before, this wasn't like a anomaly type of situation, Aubrey's got to be worth like a late 2nd or an early 3rd at this point once you have that guy. But if you don't have that guy, you can kind of interchange him and just see if someone, has the mental game right. Because kicking, I think, is the one thing that's like 90% mental.
It's like the football equivalent of putting in a way.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. And it's not quite like shooting free throws, but it is a repetitive motion that is so much, the good ones can do it every single time.
Yeah. So why didn't Kyle Shanahan want to do it sooner? Pardon me. I was talking a lot yesterday. My throat's a little scratchy. It appears that there were a couple reasons. One is, wow, you risk a 3rd-round pick on the guy. You don't want to be wrong about that. And as Matt Barrows said today when he was on with Carmichael Dave and Jay Ross, you don't want to let that guy go and then end up being wrong when he finds his stroke with another team. Right now, I don't think that's a big concern, though.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, but that's the game in a lot of professional sports now, right? Like the Chargers are one injury away from Trey Lance leading a team that most of us think is playoff caliber at this point. So our Niners fans might still be upset, but are John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan going to be like, oh God, I can't believe we let that walk out the door? No, it's been 2 or 3 years at this point. He's gone to multiple teams. You just live with it and say it was a mistake. And Moody's probably going to be one of those too. The problem is it might have cost them a Super Bowl when he missed that extra point.
Yeah. Amadrock here in the YouTube chat asking, can field goal kickers get the yips? I think they absolutely can. Yips is just, I mentioned this yesterday. I don't mean to be redundant. I was talking with Trent Dilfer once about the yips. And I said, to me, the yips is when there's some sports act, throwing a ball. We've seen it with guys even throwing it back, catcher throwing the ball back to the pitcher, or putting or shooting a ball. It's when you fear that it's going to go wrong to the extent that you rush through it to get it over with. It's so painful for you. Whatever the act is, you get a little tense and you rush through it. And of course, if you've done anything athletically, you know that you have to have a little bit of relaxation there and your muscles have to be loose. So, and then it gets worse because you fail again and then you become more fearful. And so I think it can affect the musculature, and the brain starts to say, panic, panic, panic. Let's get this over with. And then, I hit the right upright or the left upright. So I think, who knows? But yeah, I think that's a very feasible theory.
I think it happens more to that position than almost any in sports. And just
because you can sit there and look at it and think about it.
Yes.
You know, before the snap, and you're staring, I got to kick the ball. I'm not going to miss it, right? No, I'm not going to miss it. I missed it.
The icing the kicker thing is very real. I know that it's kind of cliche at this point. Every time they call a timeout, you've always got that one person's like, oh, they're icing the kicker. It's a real thing because kicking more than anything else is psychological, and even the best college kickers, it doesn't quite transfer. I know that Dave scooped us on this last Jake Moody deal, but I think we have some more breaking news.
When it breaks,
We have it first.
it's Sacktown Sports Breaking News.
This is from Adam Schefter 4 minutes ago. Sources, the 49ers are placing Pro Bowl tight end George Kittle on injured reserve.
Oh, I thought we were going to get better news than that. All
Meaning
right.
he will now miss at least the next 4 games. He injured his hamstring during Sunday's win over Seattle, and now will miss games versus New Orleans, Atlanta, Jacksonville, and at the Rams.
Thank you. I left the conclusions. I thought maybe we were going to find out who the new kicker was going to be.
Nope, just gets worse for the Niners.
Disappointing news, not totally unexpected. I know Matt Barrows talked about the likelihood of that happening today. So George Kittle, they look at the injury. There's no way he can play over the next 3-4 games. So put him on the IR.
Yeah, now we've got who's the tight end who caught the game-winning touchdown?
Jake Tonjes
will now be the number 2 tight end.
He catches everything.
Yeah, they need him now because they've got their blocking tight end.
Brock Purdy's over there. Is anybody over there? He lobs it in there. Touchdown. Great catch.
Tonjes and Farrell, their big money free agent, Luke Farrell, who, from what I understand, cannot catch passes, but is a great blocking tight end. Those are their options.
I'd like to think this happened. I'm going with this. Kyle's in his office, and he's probably, looking at film, or he's studying his iPad or something, and John Lynch, or maybe it's Jed York, comes in and says, Kyle, boy, last year was a tough year. 6 wins. What were the problems we had last year? We had a lot of injuries and special teams problems where it brought us down. Yeah. We played 1 game. What are our problems right now, Kyle? Injuries and special teams. Right. Do something about it, you tummy. So finally they did.
I guess so. The solution was to cut the kicker, and now they have, at least for now, no kicker. But I guess for right now, in the minds of a lot of Niners fans, no kicker is better than Jake Moody.
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to bring in some kickers, right? They announced. Kyle Shanahan kind of, tried to be casual about it, but we're bringing in some kickers. So they don't know for sure who the kicker is going to be. I still think Greg Joseph has the inside track, but they probably are, going to see what people can show him.
Hey, what's Robbie Gould up to nowadays, huh? Is he's still kicking it?
There's a lot of 49er fans that even if Robbie Gould came out and said, I got like 35 yards, that's my limit, there'll still be fans go, that's all right. We know you're not going to miss inside 35. We'll take that.
Robbie Gould will turn 43 in December, which, hey, 41-year-old Matt Prater just hit the game winner for the Buffalo Bills. So why not? Kickers play into their 40s now. If quarterbacks can play into their 40s, why not kickers who have been on the couch for 4 years?
Yeah. Going back in 49er history to the catch, Dwight Clark, and I know you were not even imagined yet, let alone not born.
And my parents were children. Yes.
Well, everyone says, that won the game. That only tied the game. And then you had to make the extra point. And there was a kicker named Ray Wershing, and he was so consistent, they called him the Wershing machine. Those are the 49er kickers that you remember, the guys that were money. Jake Moody, had never happened for him. I remember doing this show with, that's what they called him. I'm serious. The Wershing machine. Because he was like, boom, boom, boom.
I'm sure it was great at the time, but
I didn't say it was great. I'm just saying it was a testament to how consistent he was.
I don't know. My Wershing machine breaks all the time.
I was doing this show a couple summers ago with Chris Watkins when Jake Moody was a rookie, and I had Jake Moody's back, and I would say, he's going to be a great kicker. This is a great kick. And here we are. The Jake Moody era did not last long. It ends today for the 49ers, and I think everyone agrees that that's too bad. Wish them the best, but boy, they probably should have done it sooner.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is going to be the final story for the 49ers. I mean, Jake, what is the moment you remember most of Jake Moody's career?
Probably the miss against Cleveland.
That's a good one.
Because my mother-in-law was watching, and she asked, like, what was Robbie Gould? Was he number 4? Whatever his number was. She said, whatever happened to that other guy?
Or number 9 or something.
Yeah. She was wondering right after that. She was at her house. She wondered, what happened to the other kicker? So I'll never forget that.
But, like, this is kind of the thing with kickers. You either remember them for their greatest triumphs or their biggest mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And so Jake Moody had, I think, 1 game winner. But, like, for the most part, it's the miss against Cleveland. It's the missed extra point in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. It's the 3 misses against the Seattle Seahawks that ultimately get him cut.
Didn't he set a Super Bowl record that was actually broken by Butker that same game?
For longest made kick.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't remember it.
Yeah.
I mean, we do remember it, but, it's not like, Mason Crosby for the Packers for all those years where it's like, hey, he's made some of the biggest kicks ever, but also missed 4 field goals in that 1 playoff game. So it's like, you with Moody, you remember the misses, and that sucks for him, but that's going to be his time in San Francisco is the best chance the 49ers had to win the Super Bowl in probably the last 20 years. Jake Moody was the kicker, and he did not perform.
You're right, Kyle. It is the misses, and it's also just that feeling of fear and maybe even dread. Perhaps that's not even too strong of a word every time he lined up for an important kick.
Dread is very difficult. Look, having a bad kicker is just one of the most unfun situations. Like, I always say, like, for people who play fantasy football or people who are getting into it, just take players on your favorite team because you're going to enjoy it more. Mm-hmm. If you're not, like, you might win, you might lose, but you want to just have fun while you're watching your team. Having a bad kicker really sucks.
Yeah, it's having a shaky kicker is a luxury that a good team cannot afford.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just kind of thinking through it right now. Buffalo's kind of got a shaky kicker. Baltimore had the kicker everyone wants for years in Tucker, and obviously he's out the door now. Butker, Kansas City's been good on him for however many years now. Cincinnati, McPherson. What is his fun nickname? Is it Money Mac or something like that?
He's Fearless McPherson. That's not his nickname, but he is.
Yeah, again, that Super Bowl run, it was like he was just hitting kick after kick after kick. And you're right, it is a luxury. That is a great way to phrase it. It is a luxury that great teams cannot afford to not have.
Yeah. You need a kicker that's going to be kind of like J.J. McCarthy was last night when things aren't going well. That's all right. We're good. I got this. Instead of a kicker like, unfortunately, Jake Moody became, where you could see it in his face and everybody on the sideline is like holding their breath.
And it's kind of a microcosm of what's happening with the Niners right now, right? So you've got Moody gone for performance reasons. You've got Kittle now out. You've got Jawan Jennings expected to be out.
Quarterback might be out.
Yeah, at quarterback, it might be McCorkle time, which, hey, if Kyle Shanahan has taught us anything, maybe McCorkle is going to be the next coming of, just proving he was right, proving that they should have drafted McCorkle back in 2021 and everything's going to work out. But
Kyle, as you know, it might be McCorkle to Kendrick Bourne time this week.
Oh, we're bringing it back. What is this, 2021? Bring it back. This is Kyle Shanahan has been waiting years for this exact moment to have Mac Jones throwing screen passes and handing the ball off 25 times a game. This is what look, how I just said you should pick people who are on your team because you're going to enjoy it more. Yeah. Kyle Shanahan might not win, but he is going to enjoy the heck out of Mac Jones to Kendrick Bourne on 5-yard screens.
Jones. Yeah. That's his guy. I think that was his guy all along. We'll see. Maybe we'll see how it works out. Brock Purdy, he still could play, but again, it depends on that toe. I know, again, Matt Barrows talked about this today. He's got a toe. Somebody asked him, is it turf toe? I think Matt Barrows asked Kyle Shanahan, turf toe? He goes, I just have toe. So, there's a lot of things it could be in there, which obviously would determine when he's back. So there's a chance he plays this week, but I would think against New Orleans, you probably sit out Brock Purdy. if he has a break or turf toe or something and the shoulder. Sit him down, but you need this win. This is when you got to bank.
If you can afford it, yes. If you have the gall to say we can win with Mac Jones, which Kyle Shanahan is like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for, then yes. Sure. But
give me one of those robots the Chinese make, and as long as he executes my game plan, we will win because I'm Kyle Shanahan.
As long as he can hand the ball off 30 times,
yes,
then we will succeed.
Right.
But this is the tough part about it, right? Because if you're hurt, you're hurt. We get that adage, but like in basketball, I get it, but in football, it's the sport where it's like you're playing with broken legs, you're playing with torn shoulders. Like it's that one sport that connotates playing through injury. And the fact that the 49ers have so many injuries tells me, oh, these guys must be really hurt.
That's a great point. You know, anytime you hear, oh, this team's healthy in an NFL team, it's like, well, nobody's arm or leg has fallen off, but they're far from healthy.
Their bones are not sticking out of their body yet.
Right.
But, you know, those turf toes are crazy. I remember Julio Jones years ago had a turf toe situation, and it was like, I think this was post Shanahan being in Atlanta, but it was like they still thought the Falcons had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and it was like 1 week, 3 weeks, and it ended up being like 8 weeks, and it was like, it's just turf toes are nasty. So if it is a turf toe situation, I understand because it's so hard to push off of your foot.
Even with the benefit of wonderful medicines and things of that nature, you just, with a turf toe injury, it's hard to run without a lot of pain, and that's detrimental to being a football player. I mean, a lot of pain emanating from your toe and shooting through your whole body.
While then commanding your body to lunge forward and try and make a pass or cut on a route or something like that.
Do you know which foot it's on? I should know that, and I don't.
I do not, but we can see if it's toe, Whitey.
Yeah, that's right.
It's toe. But
now on Hulu, Kyle Shanahan, MD. Well, doctor, you said I had tendonitis. Now you're telling me I have arthritis. What's the diagnosis? I don't know. I thought they were the same thing. I'm sorry.
I'm just seeing toes right now, so it's left shoulder, so it's non-throwing shoulder, but it does not say which toe or toes Brock Purdy is having issues with.
At the risk of making too fine a point of it, I'm thinking for a quarterback, if it's the right toe, that's even worse because that's your push off when you throw. But did you see, I didn't mention this yesterday when I was on with Ramsey, Brock Purdy maybe twice, at least once, threw a jump pass.
I did see that.
Quarterbacks don't do that anymore.
Yeah, you see the shovel passes, you see the Patrick Mahomes throwing from his side, but you don't see the traditional jump pass. That's usually like
it's not 1958 anymore.
That's like if you usually snap it to a running back, and then the running back like jumps over the offensive line. You don't usually see that anymore. But Kyle Shanahan's bringing it back to 1952.
Yeah, I think he was just so amped that he just that was the way he saw. It gave him the best chance to make the completion, which on that play he didn't. By the way, I have to back off some of my criticism of Brock Purdy. Yesterday, I just was struck by how little zip he had on the ball, and I mentioned that. Overall, he was up, he was down, but you look at what happened when Trent Williams, not only when he was out, but when he was in, he was pressured a lot, and Kittle left early, and the receivers Brock Purdy was throwing to, some of them he probably didn't want to throw them the ball. So overall, and he floated that one into the end zone that ended up being the touchdown. It's like a 14% chance of completing that. Overall, I mean, he found a way to help him win. I think he had to overcome more adversity and more less than ideal circumstances than I originally gave him credit for.
Well, I'm glad that you're capitulating now, Whitey. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we're coming back around after the fantastic win for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
After the fantastic come from behind win. We're giving them credit where credit's due.
It was tremendous. By the way, Seen Brighter Sun says Jeff Garcia style on that jump pass. And we also have Spencer Lampkins weighing in on great kickers of the 49ers pass with Joe Nedney. You remember Joe Nedney, don't you?
Sure, I don't.
You don't? Okay, because he wasn't that long ago. But I know you're very, very young.
No, that's true. It's been mostly Robbie Gould for most of the time.
I think Joe Nedney was the guy who was kicking before Robbie Gould, but I may have to double check on that.
Joe Nedney was the 49er kicker from 2005 to 2010.
Okay. Yes.
So, not exactly. Wow, he played for a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
Just going through here.
What's he doing now? Call him up.
Let's see. He's
probably at the tryout today.
He's 52 years old, so might as well try.
We'll take a closer look because we have to, not because we want to. We got all the scopes, all the medical scopes out. 49ers with that new injury report. Might they be in some trouble this week and beyond? That's coming up next year. It's Kyle Ledbetter and Whitey in for Allen Stiles today on Sacktown Sports.
For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong. Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
Hey everybody, it's Kyle Draper for Bell Brothers Plumbing. That's right, the no surprise guys. Plumbing problems got you down, just ruining your day? Well, ring the bell. Bell Brothers, that is. They offer free plumbing checkups, and you can get $50 off any plumbing fix, whether it's leaks, clogs, upgrades, you name it. Bell Brothers, the no surprise guys. Visit nosurpriseguys.com.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. Country in the Park 2 this Saturday at Cal Expo. Along with special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Avriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. This Saturday at Cal Expo with Proactive Pest Control, Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
I'm tired of being broken. I'm sick of feeling hopeless. Way down here at my lowest. At the end of my rope. At the end of my rope. So what do I do? What do I do?
Hey, this is Jelly Roll. This National Recovery Month, start your recovery journey. Choose a proven addiction treatment option that's right for you at choosechangeca.org.
Everybody knows that Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the spot to get yourself a brand new car. That's why people are coming from all over. Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville. But they also have the best selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes and models, every one of them top quality, hand-selected by General Manager Chuck Dean. Over 70 vehicles below $30,000, over 25 below $20,000. You can see that full lineup at SacSuperstore.com. And if you find a lower price somewhere else, they'll match it. And on top of that, the best car buying experience anywhere. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with primetime football. It's back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game and high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. Offering the best food, best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region and conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Whitey in for Stiles today. We've already been pelted. We just got started. We've already been pelted with 49er news today. We got word that Jake Moody has been waived. Still waiting to find out who the next kicker will be. That may be something that they haven't decided yet as they're going to look at some kickers. Then we also found out per Adam Schefter, and Kyle Ledbetter shared it with us on the air, George Kittle going on injured reserve. So that means he's going to miss at least, keep that in mind, at least the next 4 games. So he will now miss games at New Orleans versus Atlanta, Jacksonville, and at the Rams with that hamstring injury. So the 49ers look like they already may be in a spot of trouble when it comes to injuries. Real quick, getting back to kickers for a moment. Apologies to Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould was number 9. I apologize. I've struggled with his number. But I'm just looking here. Some people are starting to share names of great kickers of the 49ers past. So I just looked up 49ers most field goals. Ray Worshing's number one.
The Worshing machine.
The Worshing machine. Some of these young people make fun of his nickname. I had nothing to do with his nickname, but he made 190 field goals. Second is Robbie Gould. Third is a guy named Tommy Davis. I think that goes way back. Fourth is guess who? Who are we just talking about?
Was it Nedney?
Joe Nedney.
That's
right. Mike Kofor, Phil Dawson. And I think he's the one that was between Nedney and Gould, right?
That's right. I do remember Phil Dawson. I believe also a Cardinals kicker at one point.
Yeah.
I definitely remember him on the Niners.
Yeah. Bruce Gossett and David Akers also on the all-time 49er field goal leader list.
David Akers was around for a while. I think of him as an Eagle most famously, but he was around for a long time.
Yeah. I think he signed with the 49ers year one of Harbaugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he made a tremendously long kick against Green Bay right before a half. And I think he was like kicking with double sports hernias or something. So he was a tough guy. He was a good kicker.
Yeah. David Akers. I mean, I'd say you don't make it 20 years in the league without being a good kicker, but 20 consecutive years of like always having a job is great. I was talking about this yesterday. Like, I remember, this was probably 8 years ago. Like the punchline for bad kicker was Nick Folk. Like Nick Folk was the guy who you didn't want as a kicker because he just kept missing. And then I look at the stats from last year. It's like Nick Folk's one of the top 4 kickers in the NFL. It's such a weird position where as long as your mentals are right, you can play until you're 40 because it's such a repetitive motion kind of situation. Kickers are so strange, but Nick Folk is always the one that I'm like, that guy was a punchline, and now he is an excellent kicker into his late 30s.
It does seem like even some of the very best are prone to stretches where it's like, what's wrong with you? You know, where they just lose it for a stretch.
Yeah, I mentioned Younghoe Koo earlier. He missed a game winner last year. He missed a game winner this week against Tampa Bay. It's strange how these things work because I think he made multiple Pro Bowls. He was like terrible on the Chargers and then made multiple Pro Bowls, and now he's back to not being a good kicker. It's so strange.
From West Sac Noah on the text line 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. It's not Money Moody, it's Bankrupt Moody. Sad horns? Does that deserve the sad horns? Bankrupt Moody? Oh, no, you like that?
I like that one.
Okay, I like it. I just thought for Money Moody, it's kind of sad horns.
It's
for
clever.
him.
You know, this is the rules on our show, Whitey. If you've got a bad pun or a bad joke, it's either or.
All right.
So
thank you. Yeah.
Throw out as many as you want and let the board decide. It's not me. The board makes the choice.
The board has a mind of its own.
Yes.
I've learned that over the years in this studio. The board does have a mind of its own sometimes. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love all jump a lot of time when they throw. Not a huge jump, but they still do. Okay, thank you, 209. And I'm not disputing that, and I appreciate that. But the jump pass that Brock Purdy threw, I mean, that was just like straight jump up in the air and then try to toss it ahead. It was incomplete. That you don't see as often.
The incomplete jump pass.
Well, it's hard to complete a pass when you've jumped in the air. You're not getting anything out of your legs.
It's just all arm, which for Brock Purdy's maybe not a good thing because he's got elbow issues.
He does have shoulder and toe injuries. The toe one more serious, so he could be in jeopardy this week. Juwan Jennings dealing with a shoulder injury, still being evaluated. They did pick up Kendrick Bourne, and Matt Barrows today said Kendrick Bourne could start. There's some information leading us to believe Juwan Jennings' injury doesn't look that bad, but I don't know how trustworthy that is. Then you got Kittle out for at least 4 weeks now, going on the IR. We found that out today as well. Are the 49ers in trouble? Kyle, what do you think? Are the Niners in trouble?
Trouble, relatively speaking, yes, because it's not like they were this beacon of health going into the season. But what was the thing that you and Allen and everybody else kept saying is that at least it is the important players who are healthy. You know, we thought at the time McCaffrey, your Trent Williams, your Nick Bosa, your Fred Warner, your Brock Purdy, the important guys, the reason why they have an outside chance of making the Super Bowl or the playoffs or just being a decent team is because of those players. And now you have McCaffrey dealing with calf issues, which, you know, a lot of people, they say, oh, you better watch out for the back kind of situation. McCaffrey, it's like, if you see the calf, that is his Achilles heel. See what I did there? Because the calf connects to the Achilles.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you got McCaffrey injury. You've got Purdy injuries that might keep him out. You've got
McCaffrey's
Kittle.
okay though, right? Or do we?
Look, calf injuries going into the game. He's not listed on any injury report right now, but
I'm going with he's okay.
I'm going with he can play, which by football standards is different. I don't know. I had Christian McCaffrey #1 pick on my fantasy team last year, so I'm scarred by the McCaffrey calf injury report situation. But Christian McCaffrey had injury concerns going into the week. Now you've got Brock Purdy. Now you've got George Kittle. Once it starts to become the really important players, that's when you can start to be concerned. Because as the Niners showed all camp, you can sign Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Equanimous St. Brown and the receivers Aaron Rodgers thought was trash 5 years ago. You can go find those guys. You can't really find another George Kittle.
Yeah, that's true. And then to your point, the guys, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I don't know that they targeted him at all. And
I know that only Pearsall and Jennings had catches. Mm-hmm. I don't know about targets, but yeah, Sky Moore is essentially a punt returner who, again, they traded a 6th-round pick to go get, I think a pick swap to go get Sky Moore.
Yeah.
Valdez-Scantling doesn't look long for the team. Equanimous St. Brown has come in and out. I think Andy Isabella was there for a minute. So they finally just said, you know what? We just have to go get a receiver who is familiar with our system and we know has had success in Shanahan's offense.
Right. When you have a receiver and he plays and he doesn't have any catches, it's easy to say, well, that guy's not very good. But if he's not targeted, he can't make a catch. But the detrimental effect that has on your passing game, it can be huge, because if you have a quarterback who's like, maybe not consciously, but just like, I'm not throwing the ball to that guy, it just limits your targets. What do you end up with? I'm going to force it into Ricky Pearsall here because I don't even trust the other guys.
Which strangely worked out he threw a couple interceptions, but it ultimately kind of worked out, which is a little surprising given that Seattle secondary is really good. And obviously intercepted a couple passes, poor passer rating, but they if you take away the 6 or 7 points Moody didn't score, plus the touchdown at the end, they almost scored 4 points against that Seahawk defense.
Yeah, they could be in big trouble. They may not be. Obviously, you're playing New Orleans, and New Orleans was competitive last week. They're not very good, mainly because in some ways they're not trying to be that good. But if you can win this week, and then you can split, if you could split the next 4, is that going to be good enough? They're going to be in that jumble bucket all season long, where they're battling with a lot of NFC teams for, one of the wild card spots. So they just can't afford to get too far behind the 8 ball. But if Brock Purdy's, if he's just hurt 1 week, you're good. But if Kittle is hurt beyond 4 weeks, and then some of the other injuries to the offensive line, Pooney got hurt. Oh, he's okay. Trent Williams was out. Yeah, but he's okay. If there's more lingering things than we know yet, they're in trouble. We'll just have to wait and see.
I also think this year, especially, that NFC jumble bucket is going to be really jumbled.
It's going to be a jumbo.
The entire NFC West, I feel like, belongs in this jumble bucket. The Vikings look like they're going to be decent this year. I think a lot of people were just penciling them in as 4th in the division. Mm-hmm. They look like they're going to be good. Chicago looked halfway decent last night. The Lions look like a mess, so a team that a lot of people think is good might go to the jumble bucket. Atlanta and Tampa Bay.
Those are teams that you're playing in the stretch too.
Exactly. I don't know how much you watched of Atlanta and Tampa Bay, but that I just watched the game of that's the exact same team. Both of those teams are just exactly the same.
They play the craziest games against each other.
Yeah,
going back to last year, Monday night game. Yeah, those are wild games.
It's just the Falcons do this all the time, but specifically when the Falcons play the Bucks, the Lions, or the Vikings, it's just absolute chaos. Chaos football breaks out.
Mm-hmm. So are the 49ers in big trouble? We don't know for sure yet. Obviously, if they can bring in a reliable kicker, that helps a lot. But it just depends on how badly hurt some of these guys are. And for 49er fans, can you believe it? 1 game in, a win into the season, and already it's like, oh no, all these injuries. So fingers crossed, we'll know more in the weeks to come. It's possible the season has already been derailed to a degree. Can they get it back on track? First things first, you just got to beat the Saints. If you can't beat the Saints, then we got some issues, Kyle. When we come back, we'll take a look at 3 questions we need to answer. Maybe we can't answer them now that NFL Week 1 is done. The NFC playoff picture what to look like, how do the 49ers fit into that? That's coming up. It's Whitey in for Styles, Sacktown Sports.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-838-6767. That's 800-838-6767.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
When shopping for a new car, what do you want? A great selection? A low monthly payment? More for your trade? At Northern California's best Honda dealer, Stockton Honda, you get it all. Model year end savings are going on now. Drive away in your favorite Honda. It's savings you just can't say no to. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Based on the results of the study, recognized on June 18, 2025, USA Today's list of California's top car dealers 2025.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity. Introducing the 5-year price guarantee. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Well, one of the subplots in September will be whether Jacob Wilson could win the AL batting title. Now, he's been around 10 points behind Aaron Judge in the recent past, but if Judge were to fade and Wilson were to get hot, the A's might have their first batting champion since Jimmy Fox back in 1933.
Welcome to Dugout Radio, the undisputed home of Boomtown Baseball.
The Wi-Fi is booming with Xfinity, baby. Our next caller is
Stacy. How do you stay locked in on every pitch and play?
We stream it all live on Xfinity Internet with low lag, 99.99% network reliability, and speeds faster than a base runner beating the throw to home plate.
I stream on my TV, tablets, even my smart fridge.
Smart fridge.
With all those games, we gotta refuel.
Stream live baseball with Wi-Fi built for the biggest moments. Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary, not guaranteed.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Fall is coming, and Sacramento Rivercats baseball has you covered. On Friday, September 19th, the first 2,500 fans at Sutter Health Park will score a free San Francisco Giants puffer vest, your last chance at a giveaway this season. Grab your tickets at rivercats.com.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Whitey in for Styles today with Kyle Ledbetter. Today's news, Jake Moody waived. No longer the 49er kicker. We also found out this morning that George Kittle's going on the injured reserve. So he's going to miss the next 4 games at least. As far as Allen Stiles goes, still no news on the latest addition to the Stiles family. So we're staying tuned there. On the text line, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Joe from the 530. Whitey, Kyle, if the Niners aren't going to cut Moody, can they please change his number? Every time he kicks, I'm tired of yelling, 4! Now, is that one of the jokes that I give to the board? Oh, there you go, Joe. You're a winner.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but they have. He's no longer, they have cut him. He's no longer the kicker.
They no longer have a 4.
Yes. Nick, when you have to explain your joke, let the board decide. Awful. LOL. That's Nick. If you're talking about washing machine, that's not my joke. It's not a joke, and I didn't explain it.
No,
it used to be his nickname.
I think he might be talking about me having to explain the joke of the board.
Okay. Gotcha.
Which, again, Whitey's new to the program, just the inside.
That's right.
The inside jokes between you me and Alan and the listeners, Whitey doesn't know about them.
Thanks, Nick. I'm just trying to keep up here. Whitey, you're 100% right. Purdy plays too much backyard football. Reminds me of Aaron Rodgers only feeding the ball to Jordy Nelson. Shake my head. Yes, I have backed off of that a little bit after realizing that Brock Purdy was hurt. And also he had some guys on the field that he maybe didn't want to throw to. But I do think when you have bad Brock Purdy, there's good Brock Purdy, bad Brock Purdy. And we saw a little bit of bad Brock Purdy Sunday, mostly good Brock Purdy. I think the difference is bad Brock Purdy does get a little loosey-goosey with the football, takes a few too many chances. But then the upside of that is that touchdown pass in the end zone. Probably should not have thrown that, Kyle, but they won the game. If he doesn't throw it, maybe they don't win.
No, that's kind of the breaks there, which, you guys talked about the game yesterday a lot. We don't have to rehash it too much, but that one felt more like the Seahawks kind of lost the game than it felt like the Niners won the game. And don't get me wrong, the Niners made plays, whether it was the big completion to set up the score or the stop on defense, then Bosa stripping it. But the Seahawks really had that game down the stretch, and it obviously they missed kicks and stuff, the Niners did, but the Seahawks probably should have won.
Mm-hmm. Logical Raptors fanatic asks, didn't missing wide right ruin the Buffalo Bills guy when they lost Super Bowls? Well, it was one Super Bowl that he missed a field goal in, one that the Bills were finally going to win a Super Bowl, and they lost to the Giants. You know that kicker?
I believe that's Scott Norwood.
That is Scott Norwood. Yes, you're correct.
Good old Scott Norwood. But that documentary was very good on the 90s Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm. I know he became, I think, an insurance salesman. Yeah, and I know that missed kick has been represented in various forms of pop culture. Like I think there was a reference to it kind of veiled in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. I think he was okay. I mean, I know it was very hard on him. I wouldn't say it ruined him.
I think Scott Norwood had a career after that, if I remember correctly. We can look up Scott Norwood in real time. But yeah, he returned to the Buffalo Bills after that. But yeah, it looks like he was an all-pro kicker in 1988, and looks like the Bills were kind of his last stop along the league, but kicked in the league for 8 years.
Yeah, for his career, he made 72.2% of his kicks, which I think back then was not as horrible as it sounds now.
No, I think kicking is the thing that you can clearly see has evolved over the years, because now there's 8 kickers that can just bury 60-yard field goals. Back in the day, it was like Matt Prater hit a 63-yarder in Denver with the wind, and that's never going to happen again. And I was like, yeah, guys are hitting kicks from beyond midfield all the time.
Right. 50 is a new 40, and 60 may become the new 50. It's not there yet, but we're getting there.
We're certainly getting there. I feel like we see at least a 60-yard kick for the win, every year, and we've already got one with Boswell.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that the smoke is cleared and the dust has settled from week 1 of the NFL season, What do we know about the NFC playoff picture and how the 49ers might fit into it? Admittedly, not a lot, but we learned some things last night about that Minnesota Vikings comeback. The thing about the Vikings is there were a lot of analytically leading pundits who said they're going to drop off this year because they relied on one-score wins last year, which is hard to repeat, and they also got a lot of turnovers. They came up with a lot of turnovers, and that's not sustainable. Maybe they're right. I don't know, but last night that team looked good, and the key to the season for them is J.J. McCarthy and how quickly he matures. Again, it's just one game, but he did a great job last night overcoming that terrible start. To me, that's more impressive than a young quarterback going out and having just a great game. When you see a guy start off terribly and throw a pick six, and, everyone's looking at him like, wow, this guy's not very good. Then you overcome that, and the first guy to throw 2 touchdown passes and run for one in his first Viking start since Fran Tarkenton? That was incredible.
Well, that stat I feel like is the Vikings just don't have very good quarterback play since Fran Tarkenton. But I will say, whether J.J. McCarthy is a great quarterback or not, I don't think that's going to stop the Vikings from being a pretty good team this year. I mean, no team that has won 14 games the year prior has been more written off than the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, no team that had won 14 games had ever started in the next game a quarterback who had never played before.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating dichotomy. But with the Vikings offense, like Justin Jefferson has made me rethink how you can construct an NFL offense, because he is just so excellent that you can just throw the ball up to him and he will make plays. You can put it in his general
Brock
vicinity.
Purdy would love that.
Oh my God. I mean, Kirk Cousins was out there slanging it for how many years to Jefferson, and the Vikings would be a decent team, but Jefferson would make those offenses. I'm not going to say he's the best receiver I've seen because I'm a little baby child, and that would be a little hyperbolic, but he's made me rethink how.
But is it true?
He's made me rethink the way that offense can be built, like roster construction in the NFL, because he doesn't have to have a great quarterback for him to get numbers and be excellent.
We have the jumble bucket. That's going to be the teams in the NFC fighting for playoff spots. We think there will be a lot of teams in there. The 49ers figure to be in there. Minnesota certainly figures to be in there. I'm not so sure about the Bears. I'm leaping to conclusions. Caleb, to me, still looks like last night he was a little quick with the trigger finger. He reminded me of the old John Woodenism, which is be quick, but don't hurry. And he hurried a little bit. I know he's working on getting the ball out, not holding it too long, which is big time. He needs to do that. But last night, especially when they were coming back and he had a chance for a touchdown with 2:20 to go, whatever it was, I don't know that it would have mattered. He had a guy wide open down the left sideline and he just overthrew him. So I don't know about those Bears. That's a tough one to swallow at home on opening night.
The vibes are not good in Chicago right now. Like on the vibe meter of 10 being the Eagles coming off a Super Bowl and 1 being Mike McDaniel in Miami saying, well, things can't get worse. The Bears are probably like a 4 right now.
And they were like a 7 last night, maybe even approaching an 8. And then,
and then it just all fell apart for Chicago because somehow they still don't have a great offensive line. I feel like they draft offensive line year after year.
They've worked hard on that.
And it's still not good. I just don't understand why it's just so cursed for Chicago. But I think the NFC North is kind of like the NFC West. It's like they're all in the jumble pile. I think the Packers might pull away from the pack.
Or they might be out of the bucket. They might be above the bucket.
They have the best chance to pull away from the pack, but Detroit's got 2 brand new coordinators and an interior offensive line that I think ranked like the worst in the NFL.
They're going to be in the bucket. Yeah, they might be towards the bottom of that bucket.
Yeah, I don't think Detroit's going to be a great team like many people think this year. So you can just throw all the NFC North, all the NFC West, half the NFC South, all in the jumble bucket.
Yep, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Hey, JR joins us. JR, can you believe it? I'm telling Kyle Ledbetter about Ray Wersching, and he's like, I've never heard of that person.
Oh, that was awesome. He has no idea. How about, does he at least know Kofor? For Kofor?
Mike Kofor? You know Mike Kofor? No. He's too young.
Oh, my God. I was hoping. I got to ask this question. It's terrible. Is Ray Wersching still alive? I think he is, right?
I'm going to go with yes. Yeah. I know he's the all-time 49er field goals made leader.
I would trust him more than Moody, so that was a good move.
Yeah.
So, but I'm impressed that you're up so early. Are you taking 3 o'clock baths like Phantom these days or something, brother?
It's it's maybe on the board. Yeah, because I'm getting off a little early today, so I may have to do that.
And Norwood, that whole movie was based on him missing White.
Yeah,
the whole movie, because doesn't he like abduct Marino or something, and they have to figure out he kidnaps the dolphin or something. So
yeah.
Very, very.
How do you feel as a 49er fan about the Jake Moody news?
Oh, I'm excited. When he missed that kick, I think Kyle. I wish Kyle would have just lost it. I was going, okay, lose it, Mr. Shanahan.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He almost did. And everyone's like, that's it. Because it didn't matter the first game of the season. It did, but we got the win.
Yeah. Nope. All right. Thank you, JR. Good to hear from you. When we come back, going to catch up with Eric Martins, A's third base coach. It's Whitey in for Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884. Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. Country in the Part 2 this Saturday at Cal Expo. Along with special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more this Saturday at Cal Expo with Proactive Pest Control, Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
Hey, Sacramento homeowners, imagine the coolest, most comfortable summer in 30 years, leaving air conditioning giants drowning in overstock. That's your golden ticket to massive savings right now at Sierra Pacific. We forged powerhouse partnerships with the world's top manufacturers. They trust us for flawless installations, unbeatable service, and our massive reach across Sacramento to move their inventory fast. In return, exclusive, jaw-dropping discounts just for you. Upgrade your home with premium systems at rock-bottom prices. Installed by the region's elite craftsmen and backed by ironclad warranties and legendary support. Plus, snag huge tax credits and SMUD rebates to slash costs even further. This inventory clearing bonanza won't last. Seize it today. Call Sierra Pacific for your free in-home consultation and discover the perfect system for your ultimate comfort. Dial 916-638-0543 now or head to SierraPacificHome.com. Don't miss out. Your cooler, cozier home awaits.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacramento's official home of the 49ers.
San Francisco.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
No, it's not. In for Allen Stiles, Kevin Whitey Gleason. And one of the great things about filling in for Allen as I am today and as I did yesterday, he awaits the delivery of his second child. Chance to get to talk to A's third base coach and infield coach Eric Martins. I know Allen does that every week at this time. It's my pleasure now to speak with Eric Martins. Coach, tough one last night against the Boston Red Sox. Is there a value for a young team in playing a team like Boston this time of year when they're really playing for something important?
Yeah, we stress the importance of going out and playing teams that are in contention and facing one of the best pitchers in the league, and going out there because that's the position we want to be in here, hopefully next year. So we stress the importance of going out and playing teams like that. We went out yesterday. Crochet had his best stuff. We knew it was going to be tough anyway. But still, we feel like we can compete with anybody. We have all year. It's just a matter of putting everything together, and it's a good experience for our team to go out and play teams that are contending late in the season.
Coach, I had the occasion to talk this weekend to former major leaguer Matt Noakes. Really interesting conversation. One of the things he said is every young player, and he was speaking from his own experience, he said every young player needs to find a mentor at some point, someone to show them the ropes. With this team, I'm wondering, and I know you're a mentor, you guys have mentors, but when you have so many young players who are at a similar point in their careers and they haven't done a lot yet, to what point do they help each other get acclimated and learn the ropes of the major leagues?
I think you're seeing that start to happen now. We're so young, but we've also had some players that have been here for, last year and a half or so, like a Zach Geloff. Law's been around for a little bit now. Lang's been around for a little bit now. Rooker's probably the elder statesman on the team that people seem to gravitate towards. So it's a group that's starting to come together as a family, not just teammates and not just guys that play and work with each other. They're starting to grow together, and you see that. You see them starting to talk to each other, picking themselves up and helping each other out, little things like that. I mean, we're fortunate enough to have, Dave Stewart will come through every once in a while, Scott Hatterberg, back in the day when, Ricky was still with us, used to come around and be able to help mentor these young kids. So there's still a lot of people that they can lean on. We have Bobby Kotz, guys that have played the game for a long time that they can lean towards. But these guys are starting to put it together by themselves and learning to help each other out, pick each other up through these times.
Did you have someone in your pro career? Did you have someone that kind of took you under their wing and showed you the ropes a little bit, Eric?
Yeah, there was a couple of different guys. Paul Sorrento, when I was actually playing in Sacramento, when I opened up the stadium in 2000, he was a guy that kind of really took me under his wing. Guys named like Pat Lennon back in the day, guys like that. So I was fortunate to be around a lot of the guys that, elder states with Tony Phillips and guys like that were able to kind of mentor me and guide me through things. So which was awesome.
Yeah, I know Tony Phillips, and he's no longer with us, but he was playing in for the Pittsburgh Diamonds and the Western League or something when he was in his 50s. So there's a guy that just loved playing baseball.
He was the ultimate professional, man. I mean, that guy can go out there, roll out of bed, and get you 3 hits anytime. So, he was a guy that just, tried to teach me the right way and how to go about things and stuff like that, and have passion for the game every single day, because it's something that we get to do that other people don't get to do and don't take advantage or don't take that for granted.
We're catching up with A's third base and infield coach Eric Martins. You mentioned Zach Geloff, and I know coming into this year, highly regarded prospect, and obviously he still is, but he struggled a little bit this year. So how important are the remaining weeks in the season for him to try to get part of this season back on track?
Yeah, it's important for him because he's an important part of our team. You get Zach Geloff going off where he was about a year and a half ago when he first busted onto the scene. And this lineup is even more potent. And his athleticism and his ability to go out and play defense, his speed, his power combination, and his pure passion for the game. I mean, he brings a different kind of energy around. So it's important for him to get these at-bats in his last, 18 games that we have left and catch up for some at-bats because he was hurt most of the year this year. So being able to put together some of the adjustments that he was trying to work on last year during the offseason and gain some momentum going into next year.
I wanted to ask you about Nick Kurtz, of course, and the conversation starts with his bat. But I saw something, it might have been MLB.com, saw a recent piece about how his defense has come along. And you were quoted in that story, Coach, and somebody suggested that Nick Kurtz is developing defensively along the same lines as Matt Olson. And you apparently, in this piece I read, you didn't want to go there yet with Nick Kurtz, right?
Well, it's hard to put that much pressure on a 2-time Gold Glover, you know what I mean? But I was fortunate enough to be able to work with Matt and see his ability and the way he moved. And Kurtz has the work ethic to go out there and want to become a really good defender. And you see the way he moves for such a big guy. He's nimble around the base. He's starting to move a little bit better. His first steps are getting better, which are going to be important for his metrics that are gauging Gold Gloves. Can he catch it? Can he pick it? Yes, but there's other intangibles that are needed to be in the conversation for winning a Gold Glove. So I didn't want to put that pressure on him. But you know what? He goes out there with the work ethic every single day and wants to become a Gold Glove defender on top of what he's doing at the plate.
You guys have the A's have really improved. The numbers say dramatically on the defensive end of the floor, if I may. What's been, and obviously you as an infield coach deserve credit for that. What's been the key to that turnaround?
I think early there was a little bit of, we had Max Muncy playing a couple different positions and he was relatively new. We had some other guys that were around that were kind of filling in. So I think what's happened is we've kind of just settled in defensively. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Jacob missed some time, but Daryl Hernandez came up and Schumann came and filled in admirably at shortstop. When Urias was here, he played a really good second base. And, once Geloff got here, so it's starting to, these guys are starting to see the work that they put in all year. Mm-hmm. We challenge them defensively every single day. We challenge them to look at their numbers to see how they're graded. And I think at the half, I had a meeting with each one of the infielders and showed them their defensive metric numbers and show them where they can improve and where we want to improve and show them where we want to get better and need to get better. And they've kind of taken and ran with it. The last couple of weeks of the season, you can easily just let off the gas pedal and be like, all right, I got a couple more weeks until the season ends. But these guys have been working every single day and they'll continue to work every single day. And it's starting to show. And what that does is it's I think our pitchers have settled down, our relievers have settled down, and so now they're pitching more to contact, and our guys are ready to play, and they're starting to go out there and show what they can do. And so I think it's just been a combination of a lot of different things, but I'll just take it back to those guys taking ownership of their defense and the work, and it's starting to come to fruition.
Eric Martin's with us, A's third base coach and infield coach. To my eye, the team has kind of settled in to just being in a different stadium. And I'm not saying anything about the particulars of the stadium, but it's one that you guys had not played in before. Has that been part of the improvement? I know there was a terrible stretch, but you guys were just getting adjusted to a whole different stadium. That can happen to any team when they move from one location to another. Has that been part of the improvement, just kind of settling into where you are now?
I think in part, we don't want to use that as an excuse because a lot of these guys don't have enough time to really understand how good Oakland was. But for the most part, yes, I'll attribute a little bit to that. It's a minor league stadium. The grounds crew's done an outstanding job with the work that they've been throwing in front of them. And I can't commend Chris and his crew as much as they've worked their butts off this year. But at the beginning of the year, the field was a little bit different than we're accustomed to. Now it's settled in. The pitchers are getting used to the mound, the different backdrops and being adjusted to, instead of having 2 or 3 levels of a stadium and the outfielders having to deal with different kind of wind and your surroundings, it's not a lot of space here now. So, that had a little bit to do with it at the beginning, but we can't sit there and say that was a major part of our issues early.
Sure.
You know what I mean? We still had to go out there and perform, and we weren't winning games on the road as well. But but settling into a new place and calling it home now, I think the guys have settled and embraced it now. The fans have been great. And I think now these guys are used to playing here now. So, which is good.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about a question I saw on the internet on X, and, you see some of the dumbest things on there. But the question was, someone was just throwing this out. Hey, do you think it's harder to go from playing infield to outfield, or to go from being an outfielder to playing infield? Now, I played, I wasn't very good, but I played infield. To me, it's like infield is so much harder than playing outfield. To me, it's like if you can run a little bit and you can catch a fly ball, we could put you in the outfield. Infield is a whole different deal, and it's a challenge, and that's what makes it fun. But how about you? I mean, that's not a good question, is it?
Yeah, I think without a doubt, it's a lot harder moving from the outfield coming into the infield.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And, your reactions and the balls, the ball gets hit in the air. You have time to run underneath it. You don't have time in the infield. That ball's on you. And if you haven't made a move and you're not on time and your feet aren't moving, that ball's going to be in your mouth and your nose. It's going to be off your body somewhere. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot harder moving from the outfield to the infield because it speeds up a little bit more. The balls are hit a lot harder. The exit velocities off the ground are way harder than they are when they're hitting the air. So, a lot of different things that happen there. So it definitely, in my opinion, is a lot harder moving to the infield.
Yeah. And it's rare, you see a major leaguer move from the outfield to infield. It has happened. I have great admiration for those guys who have done that. For all the focus on Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz and Rooker, Tyler Soderstrom is putting together almost quietly a great season. He had his 24th homer the other way over the weekend. I think he's tied a team record for most RBI by somebody under the age of 23. Tell us about Tyler Soderstrom and how important he's been to this team. And would you agree almost a little bit with some of the other prospects, almost a little bit under the radar?
I would say yes, just for the fact that, Jacob Wilson burst onto the scene. Nick Kurtz burst onto the scene, you know what I mean? And those guys were getting a lot of the headlines. Meanwhile, Soderstrom was just steadily doing what he does. He's turned into the hitter that we knew that he was going to be when we drafted him. It was just about finding a position for him, whether he was going to catch, whether he was going to play first base. Now he's settled into left field and did a fantastic job. But this guy's always hit. You know what I mean? And over last year, he got hurt a little bit when you started to see him starting to get on a hot streak and starting to see him get off. And this year, he stayed pretty much healthy the whole year, which has been great. And you're starting to see the numbers like 270, 20-plus homers, 80-plus ribs. I mean, it's ridiculous what he's doing. And now he's staying in there and being able to face these tough lefties and have those at-bats. That's when you see the maturation of a hitter, when now you're in there against righties and lefties. And he's starting to put together some yesterday was tough. I mean, you're facing Crochet. He's tough on righties alone, you know what I mean? So, but he had some good at-bats against the lefty, hit the home run on Sunday. And he's just one of those guys that's going to be, I say at the end of the day, it wouldn't surprise me if Tyler Soderstrom hits 330 home runs and has 100 RBIs, and nobody's going to talk about him because of Nick Kurtz's numbers and what these other guys are going to do. So, which is fun. And he doesn't care. You know what I mean? He just goes out there. He loves to play, kick and hit. He's starting to break out of his shell, kind of an introvert at the beginning, but now you're starting to see some personality with him, and you see the passion and that he has for the game, which is fun to see.
Thanks, Coach. Welcome home. We appreciate it. Good luck against the Red Sox. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Kevin. Good talking to you.
Yeah, Coach Eric Martins. And let me tell you something about Tyler Soderstrom. A few weeks ago, I was thinking about his name, and I have a Soda Stream at home. Kyle, one of my daughters got it for either my birthday or Father's Day. I got a Soda Stream, which is you get water, put it in a bottle, and you put it up to the
I've seen one of those before.
It's carbonated. And it's really cool because I like to drink carbonated water. And I was thinking, Soderstrom, that there's a match there. Why isn't he doing an endorsement for SodaStream? And then someone texted me a couple weeks ago and said he recorded the commercial. Now, I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know if it's true, and I don't know if I had anything to do with it, but someone told me they were talking to his agent, and they said, yeah, he recorded the commercial already for SodaStream.
So did you say this on the air at some point?
Yes.
Whitey, you might need a percentage of this deal that Tyler Soderstrom might be getting.
And, it is kind of obvious. If anybody is ever thinking that way, it just kind of slaps you in the face. But I'd like to think that maybe I had something to do with it.
Maybe, just maybe, you will be the reason that Tyler SodaStream has a little bit.
Hey, that's Tyler SodaStream. Yeah,
it might have a little bit more change in his pocket. I love this. What? If we can think of other ones for other A's, text line, I'm going to leave this up to you guys and YouTubers. If you can think of any other puns for endorsement products for the A's.
Their babies, yeah. Some possibilities. I hadn't even thought of that.
Maybe we can, if Whitey can do that for Tyler SodaStream, maybe there's someone else out there who might be able to line up some endorsements for our lovely Sacramento Athletics that are technically in West Sacramento and going to Vegas, but not in Oakland.
What a great way to welcome the players themselves into our community.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see if we can come up with some ideas. I'm trying to think. Geloff, there's not much there necessarily.
Rooker, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Lawrence Butler, because you've got Law, you've got Butler. You got a bunch of different options there, but maybe someone can think of a good product.
You're way ahead of me. I hadn't thought of taking it beyond just Tyler Soderstrom. Yeah. Now we're going.
Let's see what the text line can come up with.
I'm afraid to do that, but okay. If you want to, your listeners better than I do here on the Allen Stiles Show.
You know what? We'll filter out the bad ones,
Mm-hmm. Good luck with that. Yeah, sure. If you got any ideas, What the heck? And thanks to Eric Martins for joining us. Tough one for the Athletics last night against, as you know, Kyle, a very good Boston Red Sox team. And they had a nice crowd out there.
Good Boston Red Sox team. It wasn't like that when they traded Rafael Devers. It seemed like they were in the tank. What happened there? Seems like everything worked out for Boston and not so great for the Giants, huh?
I don't know. The Giants won last night, and they're still alive. They're still kicking.
Yeah, but you know where Boston is? In the playoffs. And that's where they were not when they traded Rafael Devers.
Is that a shot at the Devers trade and Buster Posey?
I'm just saying, doesn't look like things are going so great for those Giants. But Boston doesn't seem to miss them. That's all I'm going to say. I think tonight I'm going to get the chance to go out there and see those Boston Red Sox. I wonder if they did a sellout yesterday, because there was kind of a question about whether or not Boston late in the season.
The box score said 10 something. I checked it today. So
that's usually they call it a sellout. If it's
do they really?
If it's over 10-5, they usually call it a sellout.
Wow, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, yeah, they had 10 something. I'd have to double check. Anyway, again, our thanks to Eric Martins. Turning our attention back on the Allen Stiles Show with Whitey in for Allen to the 49ers. Yeah, the big news. It's funny because there's some people here in the YouTube chat and on the text line, and they're wondering, wait, did Brock Purdy really get waived? Yeah, it's true. It's hard to believe in a way because, yeah, what did I say?
You said Brock Purdy.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Did Jake Moody really get waived? Brock Purdy did not get waived. My apologies. Thank you, Kyle. Did Jake Moody really get waived? He did. That's a report from Tom Pelissero. So the 49ers, as of right now, they don't have a kicker. It looks like tryouts will be – they better get going on that, right? Because you probably need a kicker in here by the time you head to New Orleans. So, yeah, Jake Moody is gone. I understand why it almost seems hard to believe because it seemed so impossible that he was still on the team.
Yeah, when you cut someone in week one, it seems like you kind of made a mistake from the get-go, which at least they are understanding enough to admit it. But we talked about it before. Once the locker room is kind of out on you, and right. Pam Oliver mentioned that like players were like audibly upset with Moody on the sidelines. Once the locker room is kind of done with you, then sometimes your hands are tied as a general manager.
Yeah, the decision's almost made for you.
Yeah, and it seems like that was the case here. Our guy Allen, while he might be at the hospital right now, we don't know, is apparently still tweeting, and he said nothing has united 49er fans quite like this Jake Moody release. So it seems like the agreement across the board is that everyone is happy with Jake Moody being gone.
Mm-hmm. As far as Brock Purdy, and I apologize for misspeaking there, but Brock Purdy, we're still waiting to find out whether he's going to play this week with a toe injury that Matt Burrows speculated today. Clearly, he said, this is speculation. I don't know anything. He's suggesting it's turf toe for Brock Purdy, along with the left shoulder injury. So we don't know how likely Brock Purdy is to play this week. But let's look back at that throw that won the game against Seattle on Sunday. According to NFL Next Gen Stats, the completion probability of that throw was 14.7%, the lowest of any attempt on that NFL Sunday. Unless there was a completion that was a lower percentage Sunday night or last night, I don't think there was. That was the lowest completion probability percentage of any pass anybody threw in week one. And it was a game-winning touchdown.
Well, I assume completed pass, right? Because an incomplete pass, the probability is 0. So I assume that's probably
I'll double check on that, but yeah, it's a good point.
I assume it's any completed pass, which I think is funny because in literally the exact same game in the first quarter, Sam Darnold threw a pass that hit an offensive lineman in the helmet and was caught by Jackson Smith and Jigba. Mm-hmm. So that pass had a better chance of being completed off an offensive lineman's helmet than the Brock Purdy touchdown.
Kyle Shanahan's quote yesterday, no one was open, and I didn't think Jake was, but for some reason Brock did. So,
sure.
See, I would think that'd be the type of thing that would drive Kyle Shanahan crazy if that had been intercepted or something. But sometimes, and that's why I think Brock Purdy is so good for Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy is going to do, okay, what do you want me to do? All right. But occasionally he's going to go off script and he's going to do things that Kyle Shanahan doesn't want him to do. And that's the difference between just being a robot and being a football player. And by all accounts, there are times when Brock Purdy, as much as he's like, yes, I know the game plan, I'm going to follow the game plan, he will go back at Kyle a little bit. He'll get in his face a little bit. And I think that's healthy when you have a coach who is just such a control freak.
It's so interesting with Shanahan because not only is it a quarterback, evolving, it's also changing the coach from being a hyper control freak to a slightly less hyper control freak in Shanahan's case. But so often I think of Kyle Shanahan right now as what Andy Reid was in like 2006, where it's like everyone acknowledges great coach, great play caller, one of the brightest football minds any of us have seen. Respect of his peers, respective players, and even the fans that don't like him are like, I have to admit he's a very good offensive coach, but he has issues with play calling and clock management and things like that.
Especially, yeah.
Which is what everyone used to say about Andy Reid. Andy Reid just couldn't figure out clock management. And Andy Reid learned that over time it's good to release the reins a little bit. Now, it took him having to go from like Kevin Kolb to Michael Vick to Alex Smith to eventually Patrick Mahomes, but Andy Reid learned it eventually. And I feel like Shanahan, because he's still relatively young, I think as he gets into that next stage of his career, whether he's with the 49ers or somewhere else, and you really have time to kind of reflect, I think he is going to learn those things. And if you, not saying give him Patrick Mahomes, but you give him a quarterback as good as Brock Purdy, I think down the line it's going to serve him better as a coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just see what happens if they're without Brock Purdy. Let's say he doesn't play this week, Kyle. What's your best guess? Brock Purdy doesn't play. He's okay. He's going to miss at least this week. We'll see. But at some point, he's going to be okay. But you got Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne are playing this week against New Orleans. Can you win? Should you win?
Well, they've got chemistry, right? From those terrible Patriots teams.
Mac Jones, that one good year he had, Kendrick Bourne was his primary receiver.
That is a great point. They've played together and succeeded together. They made the playoffs together. If Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne can make the playoffs together on those Patriots teams, why can't they do it in San Francisco?
Yeah. I remember, Kyle, I had Mac Jones rookie card, Silver Prism. And at one point it was worth $200 easy. And then the next year at camp, things started to unravel for them. And I remember asking people, should I sell this card? People that didn't even collect cards, just, hey, what's going on with Mac Jones? I'm hearing bad things. Should I maybe bail out on that? And the advice I got was, yes, you should. But I didn't. I didn't. And now it's worth, I don't know. I actually gave it away. I gave it to one of my nephews. I don't even have it anymore.
Well, guess what? Your nephew might have a good value coming back around because it's time for the second draft. It is time for McCorkle to figure it out with an offensive coordinator that actually knows what he's doing. This is the time to buy on McCorkle, because all those nice things I just said about Kyle Shanahan learning and growing, throw it out the window if it's Mac Jones. Kyle Shanahan can just dive into his most controlliest of control freak tendencies and scheme everything perfectly for Mac Jones, because all Mac Jones does is complete screens, complete short passes, and hand off the ball. And Shanahan's like, thank God,
that's
finally.
My guy. Yeah.
I've been waiting so long for you to get me this quarterback.
I'm thinking that if Mac Jones plays well and they win, perhaps, depending on the extent of Brock Purdy's injuries, maybe the 49ers, let's see, who do they play the next week?
I believe it's the Cardinals.
Yes, they're back home, right? Against the Cardinals.
I believe so, yes.
I mean, that's a tough one.
Then it's, I believe, Falcons and Rams.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if he plays really well, if you would be, you know what, Brock, if you're not 100%, take another week off. But against Arizona, I think you're going to need Brock Purdy.
I think Brock Purdy's probably going to play as soon as Brock Purdy physically can get out there. Maybe that's this week. Maybe it's not. Again, if it is turf toe, which we don't know for sure, or which toe is turfed, then we might have to have the conversation about how long he's going to be out. But we just don't know. We're all pretty surprised to see Brock Purdy on the injury report, especially Shanahan saying he might not be able to play.
Yeah, so fingers crossed on that for 49er fans who, here we are. It just seemed like it was the middle of camp not that long ago. All these injuries and the kicker's terrible. And then it looked like, hey, they're healthy, but now they're not again. One game into the season, and the kicker is gone. Jake Moody is gone. Who's going to replace him? Any idea? I'm going with Greg Joseph just because he's the guy that they brought in.
I'm surprised we haven't heard yet. I would have thought you would have waved him with someone already in tow, ready to go.
In tow. Very good. What does the board think of that? Yeah. We'll pass along the information on that if we get any. Also, the information on Allen Stiles who doesn't appear to be too worried about his wife's impending delivery because he's tweeting up a storm about Jake Moody. When we come back, the biggest loser of the NFL season, we may already know who it is next. It's Whitey in for Styles on Sacktown Sports.
Carmichael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A-plus Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal, you should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose situation. Go with a trusted company. American Energy, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
I'm tired of being broken. I'm sick of feeling hopeless.
Hey, this is Jelly Roll. This National Recovery Month, start your recovery journey. Choose a proven addiction treatment option that's right for you at ChooseChangeCA.org.
Are you thinking about buying a new car? Well, maybe you're on the fence. Let me help you out. Kyle Draper here from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the first time I stepped into the MP of Stockton showroom, I knew I made the right choice. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV. It's comfortable, stylish, and most importantly, it's safe. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. It's just a short drive down I-5 or anytime at mpofstockton.com.
Discover Terra Madre Americas, one of the world's most exciting food events, coming to Northern California for the first time this September 26th through 28th. Dig into good, clean, and fair food for all with chefs Alice Waters, Sean Sherman, and Jeremiah Tower. Hear music from The War on Drugs, Spoon, Big Head Todd and the Monsters, Jade Bird, and Passion Pit Solo Acoustic. Savor the journey of Terra Madre Americas, only in Sacramento. Details on TerraMadreUSA.com. Terra Madre Americas is supported by Sacramento International Airport and brought to you by Slow Food and Visit Sacramento.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. Country in the Part 2 this Saturday at Cal Expo. Along with special guest Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. This Saturday at Cal Expo with Proactive Pest Control, Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
It's Kids Night at Stockton 99 Speedway, Saturday, September 20th, presented by your local Tractor Supply stores. Enjoy free games, prizes, and family fun, plus racing action from late models, legends, pure stocks, and more. Kids 10 and under are always free. Visit Stockton99.com for tickets and info.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
This is the Allen Stiles Show, but I'm not Allen Stiles. Kevin Whitey Gleason, Kyle Ledbetter. Once again, I want to thank Kyle for all the work he put into the show today. It's his show, and I'm just kind of helping out. So I appreciate that, Kyle.
Oh, thank you, Whitey. This is a real treat for me getting to do the show with you. I was hoping in the planning for what we were going to do when Allen was gone for what we thought was 4 weeks, but is now 3 weeks, but might be 2 weeks. Who knows?
Right.
I was hoping that at some point I'd get to do a show with you, and now you are the caretaker of the Allen Stiles Show, at least for today, and I'm very excited about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do we know, is he going to take 3 weeks and then bank a week? I've heard of people doing that.
So I believe he has, not to put his business out there, I believe
I don't mind.
Yeah. I believe he's got more than 3 weeks, but yes, you have like 12 months to use it. So I think we're going to bank some for next summer. You can ask him what his plans are for it, but he wanted to make sure for the people that he was back for Media Day, which is in 3 weeks.
Oh, look at that. Always thinking about his audience.
Yes, and definitely not how excited he's going to be to get to interview his guy, Maxime Reynaud.
Oh, yeah. That is going to be fun. That'll be here before you know it.
It's about like 70% audience, 2% me, and the rest Maxime Reynaud.
Mm-hmm. You know, yesterday, speaking of basketball season going to be here before you know it, we're already well into we just started the NFL season. But yesterday it seemed like autumn was upon us a little bit, a little cooler, a little breezier. But I think next week we're back in the 90s again.
Yeah, I did see that. I'm enjoying it while I can. I got the chance this weekend to go to Seattle for a couple days, and I was like, 62 and cloudy. We're almost here.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's coming. I just wanted to be here so bad.
Does it rain every day there?
It rained 2 of the 3 days I was there.
Okay.
So pretty close.
Yeah. It rains about as often as Jake Moody would make a kick.
Yeah, I did see.
That's mean. He's gone now. I shouldn't make jokes.
It was good. It was a good joke, but I did see. I can't remember who it was on Twitter had a really good joke where they posted that since November last year he was 12 for 23, and they made the joke that 52% from 3 is Steph Curry numbers.
Yeah, there you go. You mentioned a kicker a short time ago that just kind of went one in one of my ears and out the other. But I just looked up some free agent kickers. And I don't know if the 49ers are looking at this guy. You know, maybe they've already just kind of had Greg Joseph on reserve, and maybe he's always going to have been the guy if they got rid of Moody. But you mentioned Michael Badgley.
Oh, the Money Badger.
Yeah. 2023 playoffs, he made a 54-yard game winner against the Rams in the wild card round. He finished the postseason perfect on both field goals and extra points. However, he was sidelined all of last year, torn hamstring. He had established himself, according to Sportskeeda, as a steady and trustworthy kicker, and now he is healthy. I like somebody who's been successful in stressful conditions.
I think he's kind of the classic example of, like, you know, you can find good kickers anywhere now, because he was the Detroit Lions kicker during that NFC Championship run.
Right.
He was. I know that the running joke for the Chargers is that they've had a million kickers, but he was one of those actually bad Chargers kickers, and then ended up, you know, out of the league for a bit. Made his way back to Detroit, kicking game winners in the playoffs, and then he gets hurt, and they bring in Jake Bates, who was a UFL kicker for whatever the Panthers or whatever the Michigan team was in that league.
I think it might have been the Michigan Panthers.
It was because he was kicking at Ford Field in the UFL, and they brought him in, and he's amazing. And they were like, well, now we don't need Money Badger anymore. This kid's the next great thing of kickers. So, you know, if you have a good kicker, you know, you kind of hold on to it, but you can find good ones. Badgley maybe is the answer for the 49ers.
I don't understand this if this is the way they do it. It reminds me of how teams put so much stock in how a guy does at the combine, whatever the sport. You know, you have guys, be it basketball or football, and they've got a body of work on tape. And then you're going to bring them in and work them out through the combine, and you're going to base whether you draft a guy or not based on how he played at the combine. I mean, obviously that's part of the decision, but I fear that some teams put too much stock in that. So my point is this. I'm wondering if the 49ers, they have some kickers come through today or tomorrow, whenever. And then the guy that kicks the best one day out on the practice field, like, he's the guy, sign him up. I don't know. Doesn't that seem a little reckless, a little short-sighted?
I don't know how you evaluate kickers in the modern age of the NFL, right? Because I made the joke about Nick Folk earlier. Nick Folk was the punchline. Daniel Carlson was a punchline when he was on the Vikings, and he ended up on the Raiders, and he made All-Pro. So I don't know how you evaluate kickers in the modern age of the NFL, because I think that position might be more mental than any other position in sports, major sports, because it's just the same repetitive motion over and over again. And you have to it's so precise that you just have to mentally block everything else out.
Maybe that's how you do it then. You have 3 guys and you bring them out here. We're going to have a competition here. Whoever wins gets the job. The other 2, you're going home. Let's see how you respond to that.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great. But but I just don't understand how you find it. Like, you just luck into a good kicker in the NFL nowadays. Like, if you're a team, there's no way the Raiders thought that Carlson was going to be their kicker for the next 10 years. They just signed him because they cut their other kicker.
It's almost like a lottery ticket. It's just this guy's got better odds than that guy. How about this guy, who I believe is available, Dustin Hopkins, 2023 with Cleveland. He was back-to-back AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. And he had an NFL record, 5 straight games with 50-yard field goals. Also set a Brown single-season record with 31 made kicks. However, 2024, he was inconsistent. Crowded roster led to his release this August. 34 years old, has the leg strength and experience to earn another opportunity if a team needs stability. Do the 49ers need stability? He's my guy. I don't think they're going to get him, but that's my guy. Dustin Hopkins.
King of the Mountain. I still think he's not knocking Money Badger off the mountain, but you're in on Dustin Hopkins.
Yes.
I'm in on the Money Badger, and I'm sure they're going to sign Greg Joseph.
I am too. Yeah. They probably are. Hopefully we know something sooner rather than later. Do we know already who the worst team in the NFL is, Kyle? You seem to think we do.
Well, I think we have a team who we can already write off after 1 week. Seems to be the case. Like, it's not only that they're bad, it seems like we've seen this story before type of situation. That's the New York Football Giants. I would make the argument that the New York Football Giants might be the biggest losers already of the NFL season.
Bigger even than the Miami Dolphins, whose coach says, well, it can't get any worse, which you never say because it can always get worse.
Miami Dolphins is pretty bad. I guess the only difference is, like, if that one's going to go down, it's going to go down in a, like, smoke and fire and, Tyreek Hill getting cut, kind of like Antonio Brown did years ago with the Raiders, and Mike getting fired and everyone just being unhappy. With the Giants, it's like, oh, no, you're just the Giants. And you're trying to turn it around, but you can't. You're just doing the same thing as everyone else. This was an incredible stat. I mentioned it on Dave's show yesterday. In his first start with the Colts, Daniel Jones had a 75% completion percentage, 298 yards of offense, and 3 total touchdowns. His entire career with the Giants, he never posted those 3 stats in combination in the same game. 6 years with the Giants, 4 different offensive coordinators, and his first game with the Giants, all of a sudden, Danny Dimes looks like a quarterback who never existed in New York. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Giants are like, there were reports yesterday, Brian Daboll is pleading with ownership to start Jackson Dart, and they won't let him.
I get that, but Daniel Jones having a big day, it reflects poorly on the Giants, but doesn't it reflect even more poorly on the team he did it against, the Miami Dolphins?
Yes, that is also
destroyed the Miami Dolphins.
30-0 was the score at one point. I think they scored a pity touchdown at the end, but yes, the Miami Dolphins going down in smoke and fire versus the Giants. It's like, oh, that's just really sad because we've seen this story before. They're going to bench Russell Wilson. They're going to play Jackson Dart. They're going to fire Brian Daboll. They're going to do that. It's the same thing that all these bad organizations do. They can't align the timelines, so they just fire a coach. And when they fire a coach, the new offensive coordinator is going to come in. They're going to try and work with the quarterback for a year. Either the quarterback's going to be good or he's not, and then they're going to bring in their own quarterback. It's the same. Like, if I were a Giants fan, I'd look at this and I'm like, I know exactly how the next 3 years are going to go, and it's not going to be good unless Jackson Dart is a great quarterback, which 25 teams decided Jackson Dart was probably not a great quarterback.
I think Jackson Dart gives them a little bit of wiggle room. Now, make no mistake, Miami, the Giants, clearly they're both bottom 5 in the league right now. We disagree over who should be at the very bottom, but they're both bottom 5. But the fact that they have that card to play, to me, Brian Daboll, even, it gives them a little bit of insulation from, being fired because they still have that card to play. I understand why they're not playing him this week against the Cowboys. It's like, let's just slow play this. But to me, that's why Miami is in a worse situation than the Giants. I don't know where Miami goes from here other than let's just hope it gets better because it can't get worse. The Giants at least have that glimmer of hope that maybe Jackson Dart is going to be the key to better days for us.
Yeah, I guess the tough part, though, on the other side is that you have, if this is a game of Uno, you've got the +4 in your back pocket right now. But the flip side is he's trying to play it right now. Dayball's like, no, I want to play this card right now. I don't want to keep it in my back pocket. I want to play him right now. This is Wesley Steinberg. So if I'm being fooled by the internet, I'm sorry, but it looks like he is an insider. But it seems like they actually want to play Jackson Dart now.
Wesley Steinberg?
I'm not sure if I'm being fooled by the internet, but it looks like a Giants person on the internet. But,
all right, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Giants insider Wesley Steinberg.
Yes. Apologies if I am being fooled here by a fan who is faking as an insider, but it seems like they want to go with Jackson Dart at this point, and I understand why. It's the Russell Wilson thing. It's the same thing, like team starting TJ Yates, team starting Tyrod Taylor over Josh Allen, or Tyrod Taylor over Justin Herbert, or Tyrod Taylor over another quarterback.
Remember, he says his name's actually Tyrod.
Tyrod Taylor.
No one calls him that.
Yeah, but
Russell Wilson was really, really good at one point, which is the big difference.
Yeah, and he's on a 1-year contract on his way out of the league, and it just seems so sad. It seems impossibly sad to be a Giants fan right now because you don't have much to look forward to unless Jackson Dart can save the franchise from whatever kind of purgatory whatever sort of God they've hurt in order to put themselves in this purgatory for basically my entire life, except for 1 year.
Bottom 5 right now in the NFL after 1 week in no particular order. Do you agree with this? You got Miami in there. You got the Giants. New Orleans.
New Orleans is pretty good.
Carolina. And even though they should have won, I have Cleveland.
I think Cleveland, the vibes are bad. So I would agree with you. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I would dominate. Titans had a tough week too. I mean, I know they were winning for a while, but people were going through the film and they were like, yeah, they got nothing around Cam Ward.
But at least they got Cam Ward.
At least
they were competitive on the road in Denver.
And the Giants have Jackson Dart.
So you would put Tennessee in there, and who would you take out?
Carolina. I'll wait on Carolina. I don't know if they're going to be good, but I will pause on Carolina being in the bottom 5.
All right, but we agree on Cleveland?
Cleveland, the Saints, the Dolphins, and the Giants.
All right, your bottom 4/5 1 week into the NFL season. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of Kings here. I know Allen, and it's a privilege to fill in for Allen. He gets a little, I don't want to use the word goofy, but he gets maybe sometimes a little carried away with players that are available. So I want to make sure we're on the same page on this player who is available. And I'm telling you, the Kings don't want him. Right next, it's Whitey in for Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Seems like back to school happens earlier each year.
First day of school coming in hot.
And this year my kids had massive supply lists.
Folders, notebooks, and pens. Oh, the humanity.
But Staples had everything I needed, with some items just 25 cents.
Watch the small print.
No. My back to school budget was saved by Staples Easy Button.
Everything for school, in stock and as low as 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
In store, online, and on the app. It's 9/13 while supplies last.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
When your name's on the paint job, your primer better hold up. Painters trust Kills primers for serious adhesion, stain blocking, and a finish that lasts. Now, the full Kills lineup is available exclusively at the Home Depot. Need it fast? Get same-day or next-day delivery, or order online and pick it up in-store. Kills primers. Pro results faster. The Home Depot. If you're a pro, you know.
If Old Spice Deep Sea Super Hydration Body Wash were music, what would it sound like? Start with the deep sounds of Old Spice's Ocean Waves and Kelp. Layer on the smooth, renewing moisture. You wouldn't hear any parabens or phthalates because Old Spice Deep Sea hasn't got any. But you would hear that vitamin B3 for healthier looking skin. So while your regular body wash sounds like this, Old Spice sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
The Sacktown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville Outlets. The 49ers got their season started successfully with a last-minute win in Seattle, 17-13. Jake Tonjes, the hero, making a leaping grab in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. Niners back on the road this week in New Orleans. You can catch all the actions on Sunday right here on Sacktown Sports 1140, beginning at 9 a.m.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Listen to the 49er Rewind daily. Brought to you by Mountain Mike's Pizza, the official pizza of the 49ers. Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza, the way it ought to be.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Hey, Whitey in for Allen Stiles. How about that 2023 49er draft class? Just taking a quick peek at that. Jair Brown in the third round, Jake Moody in the third round, Cameron Latu in the third round, Darrell Luter in the fifth round, Robert Beal in the fifth, D. Winters in the sixth, Braden Willis 7, Ronnie Bell 7, Jalen Graham in the seventh. We know that Jake Moody is being waived. I don't think we're going to know for a while who's going to replace him, because looking at the language here and all the reporting, it all says that he is going to be waived. So I think procedurally, it technically has not happened yet. So you can't replace him until he's waived. But it's interesting, if you look closely at all the language explaining what's going on, it all says, Kyle, if I'm not mistaken, the 49ers are going to waive Jake Moody.
Gotcha. So they are going to place him on waivers, and I think another team has a chance to collect him, which I think will affect how much money they can add. Because if someone claims him on waivers, they'll pay his whole salary, which probably won't happen, but otherwise, yeah, this is probably procedural before they know how much they actually have to allocate.
You know that Jim Harbaugh's looking at that going, ooh, another chance to embarrass the 49ers? Take him.
But he's got one of the really good ones
Yeah,
now. He's got Dicker the Kicker, who I just can't get it. Not only is he a fun kicker name, but he also leans into the joke, which I think is always great. Kicker with personality is almost just as fun as a kicker who makes kicks.
That's one thing about Jake Moody, and maybe you can't blame him because of all the pressure. He just almost seems like he's really introverted, doesn't he? And he's like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I missed the kick. I'll make the next one.
Yeah. Remember that time
Confidence!
Remember that time? He was looking confident when he broke up that fight between Tabor Pepper and Deebo Samuel, however long ago that was. But it was also just kind of like, no, don't do it. But yeah, I don't know what we're going to end up doing with that. But back to your point about the 2023 draft class. Didn't we just do this with the 2022 draft class for the Niners also? It was like only Brock Purdy saved the 22. So like that's 2 years in a row where they get basically no value coming out of the draft at a time where they really, really need it, coming off of Brock Purdy signing that extension and all those other players leaving in free agency.
At the risk of overstating things, the bloom may be coming off the rose here for Kyle Shanahan if they're not able to salvage this season. Everything's still, in play for this season. You could end up winning the division. Who knows how far you could get in the postseason. But there are a number of recurring themes. To me, the most troubling, if our ownership, is the special teams situation. And sure, if you bring in another kicker who's better than Jake Moody, that improves your special teams, which have been neglected. I don't know how else we can say anything other than Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, they have neglected their special teams since they've been here. But that doesn't address the problem that you had when the field goal by Jake Moody was blocked. That wasn't his fault. The one that was blocked, the left side of the line just crumbled like a crumble cookie.
We love a good crumble cookie.
Yes, we do.
But I don't think that Jake Moody is a symptom of a larger problem.
I agree. Well said.
But at the same time, you let that symptom just keep spiraling or, keep adding and adding until it becomes a full-blown cough. And everyone's like, go to the doctor, which is, I guess, the equivalent of cutting him today. Is they finally just got to that point.
Yeah, they got the appointment to go to the doctor today. So
I don't know. They might have had to go to ER because it seemed like they were. I mean, Kyle Shanahan said after the game, Moody is our kicker.
Yes.
So I get it. He talked to Lynch on Monday and then his tone kind of changed, but even he just towed the line all the way through and through on Moody.
Yeah, I think the quote, I have it here somewhere, but the quote was, I have no doubt he'll be the kicker, but I'm going to have to think about it on the flight home. So sounds like maybe there is some doubt there. I didn't think he'd do it, but I think they're doing the right thing.
Then by Monday, we're evaluating all options.
Yes. I'm telling you, Dustin Hopkins is my guy.
It can't be worse than Moody, right?
How might the 49ers fare if Mac Jones is under center? We'll get to that coming up here, top of the hour. Right now, I know Allen on the Allen Stiles Show with Kyle Ledbetter talks a lot of basketball, so I wanted to just touch on some NBA stuff. First of all, Allen, it seems to me, this is my opinion, I've known Allen a long time. He's a friend of mine. It seems to me that he does get excited whenever a player is available that maybe might fit some need the Kings have. I saw yesterday that Kelly Oubre is somebody that I guess the Sixers are looking at moving. We can just settle this now and move on. He's a hard pass for the Kings, right? Kyle Ledbetter, Kelly Oubre, we are not interested, right? I know I'm not interested.
I am interested in Kelly Oubre for salary matching purposes. If we're going to trade for him and waive him, I'm on board. But I don't think that Kelly Oubre is going to be playing significant minutes for the Sacramento Kings. Kelly Oubre is right now a tier of player in the NBA that I really like, which is plays good minutes on bad teams and plays few minutes on good teams.
6'8", small forward. Ooh, the Kings need length.
He's making about $8.3 million 1 year on the deal. Can we trade him for Dario Saric? Because I'm in if we can trade him for Dario Saric.
What would be the upside of that?
Dario Saric. So on our show, Allen reached out to multiple people in the Denver area and Golden State just to figure out, what was wrong with Dario Saric last year? Why didn't he play? And multiple people conferred he's not an NBA player anymore.
Yeah.
So Kelly Oubre would be an upgrade over Dario Saric if you're looking for a backup 3, backup 4. But in my humble opinion, they're probably just better off trying Neat Clifford and Maxime Reynaud and Isaac Jones in those minutes than trading for Kelly Oubre.
I agree. I was covering the Warriors when he was there that 1 year, and he did some nice things, but overall he just doesn't help you that much. He averaged 15 a game last year with filling 15-4 the year before. I know it's easy to look at those numbers and go, this is a good player. He's just not a very good player.
No.
Bless him. He's had a long career in the NBA. He just doesn't do things to help you. He's not a very efficient scorer or shooter, doesn't defend especially well. So I'm hoping that we don't hear about the Kings' pursuit of Kelly Oubre. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page there. I'm not sure we are, but that's okay.
You know where Kelly Oubre would kill it right now? Olympiacos. That's where Kelly Oubre would be a great player. Somewhere where he can get buckets and somewhere where he's not the center point of the offense, but he's given free reign to do the things Kelly Oubre does really well.
Tsunami Poppy.
Tsunami Poppy, which, the third Splash Brother, as people were calling him.
Do you remember when he had that CarMax commercial?
I do, yes.
I never understood how Kelly Oubre got a CarMax commercial. Because that Steph, and they had some great WNBA players. Zach LaVine had one, and then they had Kelly Oubre. It's like, why does he have a CarMax commercial?
I saw that. I was like, is he like an influencer on social media that I don't know about? Or is it just that he looks good?
That's what people told me. So, he's just really good looking.
But
okay.
But wouldn't you just get an actor to do it? I don't know. Other than the sickos like us, who's going to know that that's Kelly Oubre in the CarMax commercial?
Like I said, nothing against him. He used to be one of my favorite players. And then the more I see him, I'm reminded of what a former coach told me once about Kelly Oubre. He said, never confuse activity with achievement. So that's what I think of when I think of Kelly Oubre.
What I think of when I think of Kelly Oubre, now that you've jogged the memory of the CarMax commercial, is also that weird time that he got hit by a bike, or he was on his bike.
We don't know what happened. It looks like he was on his bike.
He was allegedly on his bike and got hit by a car, but he didn't want them to know that he got hurt outside of activity, so he lied about getting into it.
Someone got the Ring video of him coming back to his apartment or his house, and he was all injured with his bike. It was kind of sad.
That was that era of TMZ where it's like, you remember that video of Bill Belichick like standing on his porch and looking really unhappy? That was the era of TMZ where it's like, how are you getting these Ring video cameras?
Yeah, poor Kelly Oubre pushing his bike in. Shh, don't tell anybody.
That's what I think of when I think of Kelly Oubre is the Splash Brother and or Tsunami Poppy as we called him, and him getting hit on a bike.
Well, I think that's maybe the only good thing about Allen being away, besides the fact that it's for a good reason. He's not here to concoct some crazy trade for Kelly Oubre, which I know he would do.
Well, here's the thing. He only likes guys if he can watch their tape for 7 minutes. What we have to do is keep him off of YouTube so he can't watch Kelly Oubre highlights for 7 minutes.
We'll just show him that one Ring video. That's the only highlight he gets to
in the
watch.
CarMax commercial.
Yes. How might the 49ers fare with Mac Jones at quarterback? Kyle's done some checking on that. We'll share that with you when we come back. Whitey in for Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer. Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times. Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants? These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
The deals are on now at the model year-end sales event at Balsam Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save on year-end models and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, Sacramento homeowners, imagine the coolest, most comfortable summer in 30 years, leaving air conditioning giants drowning in overstock. That's your golden ticket to massive savings right now at Sierra Pacific. We forged powerhouse partnerships with the world's top manufacturers. They trust us for flawless installations, unbeatable service, and our massive reach across Sacramento to move their inventory fast. In return, exclusive, jaw-dropping discounts just for you. Upgrade your home with premium systems at rock-bottom prices, installed by the region's elite craftsmen, and backed by ironclad warranties and legendary support. Plus, snag huge tax credits and SMUD rebates to slash costs even further. This inventory clearing bonanza won't last. Seize it today. Call Sierra Pacific for your free in-home consultation and discover the perfect system for your ultimate comfort. Dial 916-638-0543 now or head to SierraPacificHome.com. Don't miss out. Your cooler, cozier home awaits.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. Country in the Park 2 this Saturday at Cal Expo. Along with special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. This Saturday at Cal Expo with Proactive Pest Control, Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Whitey Gleason in for Allen Stiles, who's still awaiting the birth of his second child. So it's Whitey, Kyle Ledbetter today. We've already been peppered with 49er news today. First, we got word that Jake Moody is going to be waived. The wording is important. Tom Pelissero, NFL Media, with the report. So the 49ers have not officially announced anything yet. And the announcement is not that he has been waived, but that the 49ers are going to waive Jake Moody. I'm not suggesting maybe they won't. I'm just saying that procedurally nothing has happened yet. So we're keeping our ears and eyes on that. Obviously, they can't sign someone until they waive Jake Moody. So tryout scheduled. We'll present the details when they're available to us. But 49er fans, let's be honest, Kyle. 49er fans are rejoicing at the news that Jake Moody is going to be waived.
Nothing unites a fan base quite like a bad kicker getting put off the team.
Mm-hmm.
And like a universally agreed upon bad kicker, which is not fair to Jake Moody. He was very good at the beginning of his time with the San Francisco 49ers, but by last year, it kind of became clear that this just wasn't going to work out. He's consistently ranked in the bottom 3 of most kicking metrics in the league, and for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like it carried over for him. I know he was injured at one point too. So
yeah, last year he was injured with a high ankle sprain, which you could understand is going to adversely affect a kicker's performance. But then this year he shortens his approach, goes from 3 steps to 2, figuring, all right, I'll sacrifice a little distance in order to gain some accuracy. And he just continued to struggle with it. And who knows? Well, who knows? I think we all know. If he hadn't missed the kick off the left upright against Seattle, he'd probably still be there.
I don't know. I mean, the blocked field goal probably did a number on his chances, but again, like you said, that's more of a line issue than it was him. But I think everyone was already kind of down on him. You mentioned kicking competition earlier, and there was a chance he wasn't going to make the team coming out of training camp. And then once he missed that first kick, it was. I felt like signed, sealed, and delivered. Once Shanahan's over there, like on camera, trying to withhold his frustration, and Pam Oliver, the sideline reporter for the game, mentioned like 49er players were audibly upset at Jake Moody after missing the kick. The writing was kind of on the wall, it seemed like.
Mm-hmm. So it does appear that Kyle Shanahan was just stubborn, having spent a high pick on Jake Moody, didn't want to be wrong, didn't want to let him go and then let him land somewhere else and find his stroke. but Jake Moody is going to be waived. And then the other news today is that George Kittle is going on IR, so he's going to miss the next 4 games with that hamstring injury. Whew. Already the injuries appear to be mounting a little bit for the 49ers. That on top of the news that we heard yesterday, which is Brock Purdy has a toe injury, maybe turf toe. We don't know. A toe injury and a left shoulder injury. So it's possible that Mac Jones gets the start at quarterback this week. Kyle, what does that mean for the 49ers? Mac Jones at quarterback? Is there any chance of winning?
Whitey, I think there is just about a chance of – I think there's a pretty good chance that the 49ers can survive with Mac Jones. I have gone back into the Mac Jones labyrinth. First of all, can I tell you a story about when Mac Jones was getting drafted?
I would like nothing more.
So back then I was doing some podcast stuff in college and, was really, really into sports in a way that I probably still am, but...
Didn't you used to do an Arizona Cardinals podcast?
Still do. You can,
still do. All right.
I produce it. I'm not really deep in the weeds, but yes, still can be found. Red Rain. But anyways, so I was doing shows with my friend Blake. Great draft guy. I hope that he pursues it as a career. Was very, very knowledgeable with NFL draft stuff. And we both agreed no amount of gaslighting can convince us Mac Jones is going to be a first-round pick. Just, you can't. And then they were talking about him being a top 5 pick in the draft. And we were like, what is happening? And that was the thing that made me quit. Mac Jones is the reason I quit doing NFL draft analysis. Because people were trying to convince me he was better than Justin Fields. And I'm like, there's not a singular world where you can convince me that Mac Jones is better than Justin Fields as a prospect. You can't do it.
I remember I was doing a show in the Bay Area, and we were talking about the draft, and I said, I think this will be the draft order. Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and then Fields. And some guy on the text line said, you don't know anything about football. I'm never listening to you again. But that's exactly what happened.
Well, Fields did end up going ahead of Mac Jones, which is my saving grace, that the Bears decided to trade 2 first-round picks to go get Justin Fields, which, again, Justin Fields has struggled, but I'm telling you, the Jets are going to be a decent team this year with Justin Fields at quarterback. The Jets may not know how to fix a quarterback, but they're better than the Bears. They at least had 1. The Bears have had 0 for 50 freaking years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but the Jets at least have made 1 quarterback good. So I believe Justin Fields is going to be halfway decent this year for the Jets. But I will say that to say, I don't think Mac Jones is an NFL starting quarterback. But I think Mac Jones with Kyle Shanahan has a chance to be a starting caliber NFL quarterback. If ever a coach can make Mac Jones into a starting caliber NFL quarterback, this is the one, and this is the situation. I want to believe that the 49ers can survive with Mac Jones at quarterback.
4 years is a long time in the NFL, but 4 years ago as a rookie, Mac Jones was very good, right?
Yes.
Very good.
So I looked up the numbers. Completed 67% of his passes, which was 8th best in the NFL. 21 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, a 92.5 passer rating, which for reference, 91 is about the average. So about an average quarterback. And he was a Pro Bowl replacement because I remember him hitting the gritty as he was running to the end zone in the Pro Bowl. I haven't watched the Pro Bowl in 7 years, but that was the moment where I was like, I'm not missing anything.
I watch more pro bowling than I watch Pro Bowls these days.
I'm with you.
Not a lot. Yeah.
But anyway, he was a decent quarterback. The Patriots made the playoffs. Then I think if I remember correctly, they lost to the Bills. And I think the Bills did not get stopped on a single yard. Like they scored a touchdown on every single possession except for kneeling out the clock. But they were in the playoffs. Mac Jones started a playoff game.
Yeah, and so he had this bright future, apparently. Great rookie year. What happened?
Well, after that, Josh McDaniels, I know who is a perennial punchline now, but Josh McDaniels left to go be the Raiders coach. And the Patriots decided to have Joe Judge, a defensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and Matt Patricia, famous bad defensive coordinator, had them as the co-offensive coordinators. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. They were like, I was joking about the Giants earlier with Jackson Dart, how they're going to get a bright young mind, like how Ben Johnson is with Caleb Williams. Bill Belichick said, what if I got defensive coaches to be my offensive coordinators? And Mac Jones was just terrible the next season. I mean, let's see, I'm trying to remember. He got hurt also at the end of the season too, but was just terrible. Had like a 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Patricia got reassigned mid-season. It just was awful.
Yeah. Bill Belichick, maybe that was the beginning of the end for him. Have you heard, just on a sidebar here, you heard that he is not allowing Patriot scouts to on campus to watch his team work out?
I did see that.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, look, I don't think he's going to last more than a year in that job because he doesn't care, and that's okay that he doesn't care. But you know who else he didn't care about? Mac Jones, because you know what he did after the Joe Judge, Matt Patricia experiment? I'm going to go get Bill O'Brien to come be your offensive coordinator.
Better than Matt Patricia.
It is, but also Bill O'Brien got fired pretty immediately. They benched him for Bailey Zappi at one point, and it was just, that was what got Bill Belichick fired, ultimately.
Bailey Zappi, I believe, was drafted ahead of Brock Purdy, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Yeah.
But anyways, they benched Mac Jones for Bailey Zappi, fired Belichick, fired Bill O'Brien, who I think is the coach at Boston College now. And then Mac Jones got traded to the Jaguars, who he did play a lot last year.
Certainly was going to find his way with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, he went back home, right?
Yeah.
Jacksonville Mac, McCorkle.
Yeah.
He played more than I remembered because I didn't watch very much Jaguars football at the end of last year, but played in 10 games, started 7. His offensive coordinator was Press Taylor, who I think once upon a time might have been with the Niners, I want to say. But anyways, fired. Doug Peterson fired. All in all, Mac Jones had 5 different play callers in 5 seasons, or I guess 4 seasons, basically. If you want to count Patricia and Joe Judge, technically both of them were play callers. But
that does seem to be a recurring theme with some of the once promising quarterbacks who never fulfill that promise. A lot of times you look at them and he had 7 coordinators in 2 years. That does happen a lot.
Well, look at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had, I think, 5 and 4 years with the Browns.
Alex Smith comes to mind going back a ways. Yeah.
And then Baker ended up on the Bucs. And if I'm remembering correctly, he has 2 offensive coordinators that are NFL head coaches now. So once you got a competent, quality offensive coach, look at what Baker Mayfield has become.
So you said the 49ers have a chance to win with Mac Jones at quarterback. Nothing you've said so far leads me to believe that you think the 49ers have a chance with Mac Jones at quarterback.
No, I think that Mac Jones has had a tough go in his NFL career. As someone who doesn't think Mac Jones is a good quarterback, I also acknowledge.
Never thought that. You've always been against McCorkle.
Always thought McCorkle should have been a 3rd-round pick. But you know what Kyle Shanahan does with 3rd-round picks? He makes magic happen. Look,
sure.
This is the equivalent of going from the I don't want to say a poor restaurant. Let's say this is a restaurant where they've got a C in the window of their health rating. To now you're eating steak and lobster. Now you're coming into a system not only where they're just asking you to do the things you do well: short completions, screen passes, hand the ball off, play actions. They're just asking
a lot of play action.
They're just asking you to do the things you did great, which Mac Jones in New England, if you go back and watch that McDaniel season, they were running a lot of play action for Mac Jones. Not only are they asking you to do the things that you are good at, but now you have one of the best offensive play callers who allegedly wanted you in the NFL draft in 2021. If you believe, we've never gotten the definitive conclusion, but most people believe until they traded up to number 3, Shanahan wanted to take Mac Jones at 12.
I believe that. And as you said, we don't know for certain. No one has come out and laid it all out. But based on what I've heard, I believe that Kyle Shanahan really wanted Mac Jones. And they said when they traded up, when the 49ers traded up, they said, we don't know who we're going to take, but there's 3 guys that we want, and we're good with all of them. And I think Kyle Shanahan had to be talked into Trey Lance. I think McCorkle was going to be his guy. And I also think that's one of the reasons why once Trey Lance struggled, Kyle Shanahan was so quick to move off of him, because I think deep down it's like, yeah, I was never my guy. I knew it. He was never my guy. And I think he's got he's got the guy he wanted all along.
And now he has him in his perfect situation, which is the best running back in the NFL. No receivers, no tight end. We're just going to run the ball 25 times and throw 18 screen passes. You have to imagine acquiring Kendrick Bourne, who you mentioned earlier, his leading receiver the first year in New England. You have to imagine that was with the understanding that Kendrick Bourne and Mac Jones are probably going to be playing at least one game for the 49ers. I mean, they didn't just sign Kendrick Bourne to a nothing deal. They gave him $5 million.
Whew. I thought you were going to fill me with hope, but you're not. I don't know what to expect this week. It's the Saints. He's going to win. He's going to beat the Saints, right? The 49ers are going to beat the Saints, right? Aren't they? Please? Probably.
Well, I'm going to guess what? They're probably a touchdown favorite.
The Saints just lost one of their starting safeties. So McCorkle's he's gonna light them up. He's gonna light up that struggling and injury-riddled Saints secondary. He's gonna put up big numbers this week.
Wow, only 4.5-point favorites the 49ers are. That is a little bit disheartening, I think, at this point. But look, I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl with Mac Jones.
I just need one this week. And you don't seem like you're willing to give me one this week.
I think they are going to win regardless of who is playing quarterback. I think they can beat the Arizona Cardinals with McCorkle.
Do you really?
And Christian McCaffrey. I do. Now I'm talking myself into McCorkle the more I look into it.
I don't think so. I'd love to be wrong, but right now I don't think so.
I just think Kyle Shanahan is going to get to be the most Kyle Shanahan version of himself. He might not win as much as he used to. He's never going to be happier than these weeks with Mac Jones as his quarterback.
Really?
He's never going to be happier. This is what he has wanted almost the entire time he's been in San Francisco. Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, Jared Goff. I know Mac Jones is a lesser version of that, but these highly accurate quarterbacks who can play into the scheme is what he's been looking for the entire time. And he sort of got it at first with Brock Purdy. When Purdy was first, that rookie season taking over, they weren't really asking him to do a whole lot. Now, they had a lot more talent back then, but he kind of got that at first with Brock Purdy. And while he's probably going to grow with Purdy, this is where he can meet that little itch he has to just be the schemer who has 15 structured plays to start the game, and we're going to go up 14-0, and then we're going to sit on the football.
14, I was thinking maybe you just get McCorkle to drive you into field goal range for your new kicker. And we don't know who that's going to be yet, but get your kicker to knock down 3 field goals in the first half. Yeah. What Saints are going to, if they go nuts, they're going to score what? Like 17 points? I mean, if they just go off. Right? Spencer Rattler goes off. They're going to score like 17 points.
Allen's guy, Spencer Rattler.
I know.
I got to be careful.
I don't mean to be disrespectful.
But no, I do think that anyone can beat the Saints, right? If you're playing Survivor this year, you know the game where you have to pick someone every week. Just pick whoever's playing the Saints. You might not go undefeated.
Not this week, Kyle. Really? Survivor pool, you're going 49ers when you don't know if Brock Purdy's playing?
Let's see who else.
I understand your point, but I'm not sure I'm there with you.
Let's see who's playing the Dolphins first before we conclude this. The Dolphins are home against New England. Do you want to take Drake May? Which do you feel better about, Drake May or the
Those are my choices. I'd go with the 49ers.
Okay. Who else we got? You want to take who are the Giants playing? Let's see.
Dallas.
Yeah. You want to take Dallas? Doesn't seem like
is that Dallas's home opener?
It is, yes.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the Cowboys.
Okay, that's fair. You got the Bills against the Jets.
I feel creepy when I say that, it's like, but your skin crawls a little bit, but I think I would.
Yeah, you prefer that over McCorkle. That's the bigger thing, is that McCorkle is not. You don't want to be in on McCorkle until you've seen what McCorkle can do in this offense.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to make us feel happy and optimistic about Mac Jones, and you didn't really do that. Maybe that wasn't what you intended to do, but that's what I was hoping you would do.
I want to believe.
Yeah, they might win. Right? That's the best you got. They might win.
I'm saying if it's not happening now, it's never going to happen for McCorkle.
What'd you think of last night? Bears and Vikings. The Vikings going to be in the jumble bucket of contenders? Are the Bears going to be? I say no.
I say Vikings, yes. Bears, let's wait and see. I'm on the Bears.
That's more sensible. That's more sensible. But you lose a game like that at home against a divisional rival. Those are the worst games for fans and players. I say this all the time, and I say it because it's true. It's the games where in your mind, you've already won. You have the game. You're not supposed to think that way, but in their minds, they're like, well, we won this game. And then to lose those games, a little piece of you inside dies.
I understand it. That's why I'm glad I'm not a Bears fan. I'm glad I don't root for those teams.
Anybody standing out yet in the NFL, I know it's only one game, but anybody standing out in your mind as a potential, surprise team?
Surprise team.
And I know it's painfully early. Obviously, the Raiders may come to mind for some people.
I've been watching football for a long time, Whitey.
You're only like 14.
I know. That's what I'm saying. But, long, many years.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen the Jets score 32 points in a game. So the fact that even though the Steelers defense is not as good as Steelers defenses have passed, I was just pretty shocked to see the Jets offense look as good as the Jets offense was. I'm not saying they're going to win 9 games this year, but Justin Fields, I know there's a good quarterback in there somewhere. I've believed and believed and believed, and he's just gone through the purgatory of Chicago and backing up Pittsburgh with Arthur Smith. I want to believe there's a good quarterback in there. So maybe not a team, but Justin Fields, I think, has a pretty good shot.
Last week on with Jay on the Drive Guys, I did a Kevin 7. I did my 7 picks for the most likely surprise teams. Isn't that smart? I did 7 of them, so I'm probably going to get something.
Someone's gotta.
But I did them from least likely to most likely. I did have the Jets on that list. I also had the Colts on that list. I had the Raiders on that list, and of course, we'll see. Number 1, I had the Arizona Cardinals. Now, they won a game that they were supposed to win, big deal. So they didn't really have a bust-out week or anything, but they're still the team that I think is most likely to surprise people. It seems like it's been that way the last 3 years. So at some point, you're not a surprise if everybody says they're going to surprise you. But I am worried about them and the 49ers next week. Bad things happen when the 49ers play Arizona at home. And that goes back years with Josh Rosen came in and beat them. So I'm a little concerned about that game. I hope Brock's ready to go for that one. But Arizona, I still think, is primed to surprise a lot of people this year.
I agree with you as well. Arizona is a very interesting situation because I would make the point after Brian Flores got fired by the Dolphins, which he ended up suing the NFL over. But when he got fired, that's when I realized any coach that doesn't make the playoffs 3 years in a row can get fired. And the Cardinals are in that spot right now. This is year 3 for Jonathan Gannon. This is year 3 for offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, year 3 for defensive coordinator Nick Rallis. If you don't get it done this year, they probably are going to bring in someone new, I would have to imagine, unless it's like they lose on the last day of the season and they're out of the playoffs. I mean, you can't miss the playoffs 3 years in a row and survive.
Yeah, looks like the things are coming together for them, but long ways to go, obviously. One more note on week 1. This is a little wonky, but it's something to keep an eye on. The updated dynamic kickoff is working. Just 18.6% of kickoffs produced a touchback in week 1. And, it's like, I don't care. But that's down from week 1 last year. Okay, 18.6% of the kickoffs resulted in touchbacks this week. They wanted fewer touchbacks. Did it work? Last year, it was 64.5% in week 1. So touchbacks way down. Week 1 of the 2023 season, the touchback percentage was 77.6. Down again to week 1 this year, 18.6. What kind of impact will it have on the season? I don't know, but they wanted more returns. They're getting more returns. The updated dynamic kickoff rule, it's working, Kyle. It's working.
It is working. I don't love that touchbacks go out to the 35-yard line, but the NFL wants more returns, and it seems that that's the change that made the difference. And I was joking watching these games. It feels like every return goes to the 27-yard line.
I think you may be right. Yeah.
It feels like everyone does the same little pooch kick to the 3-yard line, and it gets returned to the 27, and everyone starts at the 27. But if that's the case, I'm fine with drives starting at the 27. When they were figuring all this stuff out, I had the spicy take that they shouldn't even do kickoffs. Just everyone starts at the 25-yard line.
Mhm.
That should be how they start every drive. But
that seems inevitable. They've been trying to avoid that for years and years and years now, but I think we're going to get there eventually.
But hey, this is a fine compromise. If every return is going to go to the 27-yard line, then that's fine. It's kind of the same, except a bunch of heads hitting each other a couple more times a game.
The one thing that I can't stand about the dynamic kickoff, and I tried to adapt to it and adjust to it. But I remember when I was a little boy watching football on TV, one of my favorite things about football when I was just barely aware of what it was the start of the game when everybody lines up and boom, they kick the ball. That was so cool.
It was
obviously now everybody's standing there.
Just waiting.
And then they kick. Now, when are we going to start?
Which also ruined the onside kick. So
that's the big thing.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
So back then it was the big run in the kickoff and then the leather helmets, right?
No, they didn't have helmets yet. No one had thought to put a helmet on yet. But yeah, the onside kick, the demise of the onside kick. And again, I understand, and it's important to have healthy brains, but just from a fan standpoint, like last night, and the Bears will try the onside kick here, perhaps. Of course, they have to alert the other team that it's coming. What are we doing? That's not acceptable.
Well, the other thing that's changed now is that these kickers can just bury kicks from 65 yards. So if you miss the onside kick, which has just a small chance of actually succeeding.
Right. Very small chance.
If you miss, it's an automatic field goal for the other team. It used to be like, oh, we're going to do an onside kick, and then if we hold them, we're still going to have the ball. But now it's like, if you don't get an onside kick, it's a 55-yard field goal, and everyone's kicker, except the 49ers, can make 55-yard field goals.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Mitch has been hanging on patiently. Mitch joining us here. It's Whitey in for Stiles. Mitch, thanks for hanging. What can we do for you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
How you doing, Whitey?
Yeah.
Kyle, thanks for taking my call. Hey, it shouldn't be hard to find a kicker. You know, it's the easy. I think it's the easiest position to replace. It's not like finding a quarterback or a center, a true center, or a good shortstop. I think I've said enough with all the sports. I don't follow hockey. Sorry.
That's all right.
Just take away 49ers. I wish they get another lineman. Drake Jackson, I believe, is still out there. Tank Williams, he's like 335 pounds. I think we can use another help on the line to help Nick Bosa.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. It's an interesting point. Is the kicker the easiest position to fill in the NFL? I don't think it is, Kyle. I understand why it looks easy, but you ever go out there and try to make a field goal? It's like, even like 20 yards, it's hard.
I would say it is the position that anyone can play, but not everyone can play.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
What is the easiest position? We'll look at that when we come back. Also, we'll look at which NFL team is most like your Sacramento Kings. Next, it's Whitey in for Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
With football in the air, fall is almost here. Time to start thinking about the cooler weather ahead and whether your heater will be able to get you through the winter. Our heater fell apart last winter, so who did we call? Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. We wanted somebody we could trust to do the job right and deliver great value, and Lee's came through. Check them out at leesair.com. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating has built a reputation as the leading HVAC company in Sacramento. We've got a new HVAC system that works great, saves us money month to month. Find out how they can help you at leesair.com. License number 635355.
Fall is coming and River Cats baseball has you covered. On Friday, September 19th, we are giving away San Francisco Giants puffer vests to the first 2,500 fans through the gates at Sutter Health Park. If you missed this giveaway at Oracle Park, here's your second chance, and it's the final giveaway of the 2025 River Cats baseball season. Don't miss your shot to head into autumn in style. Get your tickets today for September 19th and all remaining River Cats games of the season at rivercats.com.
Feel the earth shake at the Fall National Trucking Record Bowls, Saturday, September 13th at Stockton Dirt Track. Massive machines, raw horsepower, and dirt slinging action. Tickets start at just $15. Visit StocktonDirtTrack.com for tickets and info. Don't miss the action. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Well, we have some NBA news. It's Whitey in for Styles, and here is Kyle Ledbetter with some breaking NBA news.
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sacktown Sports breaking news.
From Shams Charania about 10 minutes ago, restricted free agent Josh Giddey has reached an agreement on a 4-year, $100 million contract to re-sign with the Chicago Bulls. The deal is fully guaranteed, and this is the important one, contains no player or team options. So it is a pure 4-year deal. We've talked all summer on the Allen Stiles Show about how the Giddey deal is going to set a market for Kuminga. They were taking one pick apart from each other. The Bulls were motivated to get a deal. They were sitting at about 20. The Giddey's camp was asking for about 30. They meet in the middle and didn't put in any options into the deal. So Josh Giddey's going to be a Bull, presumably, until 2029.
$25 million a year for 4 years for Josh Giddey. What impact, if any, would this have on the Kuminga situation?
Well, originally it looked like, Giddey and Kuminga would get about the same deal. But now at this point, it's so far down the line that the Warriors have essentially said, you're either taking our offer or taking the qualifying offer. But originally we were thinking if the Suns are offering 4 years, 90, and the Kings were offering 3 for 60 or something like that. And then say Giddey only got 4 for 80. All of a sudden, yesterday's price is not exactly today's price for Jonathan Kuminga. Now, at this point, Kuminga talks are done. The Warriors are going to bring him back one way or another, it looks like, unless, he's really threatening to take the qualifying offer.
Well, that's what I think's going on. But
unless they get to the end and they blink. They're kind of waiting to see who's going to blink. Either Kuminga's going to take the deal.
Yeah.
But, Kuminga sees this today and is like, see, you guys are screwing me on this deal right now, versus the Bulls eventually did meet in the middle on Josh Giddey, which is weird because they could have done this in July.
Yeah, I think the argument to that is, from the Warriors standpoint, is like, Josh Giddey's done more for his teams than you have. And, of course, then Kuminga's camp will say, well, that's because you haven't given him a chance. But I do think that Kuminga thing could still go any which way, and we're not going to get bogged down in that. But I'm with you, Kyle. It's pretty clear Kuminga is telling the Warriors, I'm going to sign the qualifying offer. And the Warriors are like, go ahead and sign it then. Well, I will. We'll do it. Well, I will. You better trade me because I will. We don't think you will. So you better sign our deal. And I think that's what's going to drag on right till the actual deadline. What, October 1st?
October 1st. I would guess probably the day before training camp is when they're going to say, like, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Which I think is like September 29th or something.
Yeah. And it's clear to me that Kings are at least, waiting to see what happens there, knowing that the odds are against them. He's probably is going to end up. I think he's going to end up taking the qualifying offer.
I think he's going to threaten to take the qualifying offer up until the very end, and then I'm curious to see what Golden State is going to do, because
they can always sweeten their offer. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they say, hey, we'll take the offer on the table now instead of, risking you hitting free agency. And to sum up, 5 months of conversation on the Allen Stiles Show. The simple point is that if the Kings want Jonathan Kuminga, they need the Warriors to not be willing to bring him back on the qualifying offer. Because if that happens, Kuminga's going to leave for nothing. And if the Warriors, which is not a bad thing for Golden State, right? Golden State can be like, hey, it stinks, it's not ideal, but we'll open up this flexibility that they're so dead set on because they want to go get Giannis in 2027.
Yeah.
So if the Warriors are like, we prioritize flexibility so much that we're willing to let Kuminga walk for nothing, then they're fine with him coming back on the qualifying offer.
But they want that salary slot too.
Exactly.
Yes.
And if they're not going to have it because he's not going to take any offer, then, and they don't want to, increase his guarantees on the second year, then that's where the Kings' only shot to land Kuminga lies.
Yeah, but there is a shot, I think. There is a shot.
I think there is, but I also don't think the Warriors are going to blink. I think they are, without any expertise, I would go like 65-35 that they'll have him come back on the qualifying offer.
Yeah, the X factor to that, of course, is that their owner loves him. And you can see how the basketball people may decide, we're doing this, and then the owner may say, no, we're going to do this. So we'll see as a Kings and Kings fans. Won't it be great when we get to the point where we know what happened. We can move on. We can all move on with our lives.
Yeah. The other flip side of the the Josh Giddey conversation as well is something we talked about last week with Allen, which is, so the Bulls acquired him for Alex Caruso, seeing as Alex Caruso was kind of a luxury for them, but they weren't really ready to compete. Now, if the Bulls and the Kings are basically the exact same team, you could look at some of the aging guys on the Kings, more specifically Keon Ellis, who is going to be an unrestricted free agent this summer, could lose him for nothing. You look at guys like that, you look at DeRozan and say, if we're not good enough to compete now, maybe we're trading for a Josh Giddey type of player on another team who's not getting runway. We mentioned Anthony Black. We mentioned a few other people. Reed Shepherd on the Rockets. Maybe the Kings look at that kind of this. Not that the Bulls model is a good model, but they're kind of in a similar spot as to where the Bulls were before they got Giddey.
That leads us to the other ongoing NBA saga, and that is the whole story of Kawhi Leonard and aspiration and the deal with the Clippers for Kawhi Leonard that may have circumvented the salary cap. It looks to me like the Clippers and maybe even the NBA here, as they look into it, they're starting to lean towards the idea that this wasn't so much on the Clippers as it was on Kawhi and his camp. I don't know what happened, but it looks like there is an effort underway to portray it that way. For example, we have from the Toronto Star, multiple sources with knowledge of Toronto's negotiations with Kawhi in 2019, telling the Star that Kawhi's uncle and representative, Dennis Robertson, made demands that line up almost perfectly with what Kawhi reportedly got from aspiration. According to those sources who were granted anonymity, of course, Robertson's list was long. It included a trade for Paul George, which featured a big price tag. It included a slice of ownership of the Toronto Maple Leafs, which Kawhi's uncle was told that's not possible.
Which also at the time, I believe the Maple Leafs and Raptors were both owned by the same people, which is a big no-no.
And Kawhi, at least his uncle, wanted a huge endorsement deal. And it looks like Uncle Dennis said, we don't want to do anything. We want a big endorsement deal, but, quote, we don't want to do anything. So that sounds strikingly similar to what we think is a deal that Kawhi got with the Clippers. So I don't know what's true and what's not, but it does sound like some people are trying to frame it that way to get us to see that here's where the real problem was.
Oh, Uncle Dennis, I've missed you so much. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I did the book, the Spurs book. Lot of time spent on Uncle Dennis.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he get his own chapter?
He did not get his own chapter, but many a times I had to look into Uncle Dennis and kind of his backstory too. It's almost just as like the free agency of 2019. It's almost just important to understand who Uncle Dennis is in relation to Kawhi as Kawhi himself. But man, I've missed Uncle Dennis. What a crazy character that guy is.
Mhm.
And, you know,
Wacky.
And he's hated more than Kawhi in San Antonio. And San Antonio still is mad at Kawhi, but they really don't like Uncle Dennis. And welcome back to the news cycle, Uncle Dennis, because he is the person Kawhi trusts, his business representative, but also doesn't.
He drives a hard bargain.
He certainly drives a hard bargain, and because he's essentially he's making checks that Kawhi has to cash in essentially negotiating on behalf of Kawhi, which is a good business representative. But if your business, if your point is we want to be paid to not do anything, if someone's going to give it to you, bless you. But that's not a great negotiating point.
I thought one of the most interesting moments of the Ramona Shelburne interview with Steve Ballmer was when she asked him, did Uncle Dennis or anybody with Kawhi, she might not have mentioned him, but she asked, did the Kawhi's camp make any unreasonable demands? And Steve Ballmer said, whenever we have things like that are approaching, the line, we always remind ourselves what is proper, and we always observe that. And to me, on the one hand, it's like, oh, he didn't answer the question. But the more I think about it, he was saying, it wasn't us. Yeah, he didn't want to say, yes, they absolutely did, but that's basically what he was saying.
Yeah, look, these situations probably happen in other places. I saw some report that was like a free agent. Howard Beck was reporting a free agent got a $100,000 deal to sweeten a free agent signing, and that team eventually got the player. So things like this happen. It usually doesn't happen to this amount of money for a no-show job with a company that Ballmer is also putting his own money into. It's those three things that are kind of separating this case.
Yes. We've still got a long ways to go before it's fully unraveled. We're going to come right back with a look at how the Vikings won with the help of a couple of former 49ers. Whitey in for Stiles today. You're listening to Sacktown Sports.
The deals are on now at the model year-end sales event at Balsam Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save on year-end models and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop. I'm tired of being broken. I'm sick of feeling hopeless. Way down here at my lowest. At the end of my road. At the end of my road. So what do I do?
Hey, this is Jelly Roll. This National Recovery Month, start your recovery journey. Choose a proven addiction treatment option that's right for you at ChooseChangeCA.org.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Seems like back to school happens earlier each year.
First day of school coming in hot.
And this year, my kids had massive supply lists.
Folders, notebooks, and pens. Oh, the humanity.
But Staples had everything I needed, with some items just 25 cents.
Watch the small print.
No. My back to school budget was saved by Staples Easy Button.
Everything for school, in stock and as low as 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
In store, online, and on the app. It's 9/13 while supplies last.
Let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. Country in the Part 2 this Saturday at Cal Expo. Along with special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash. Vincent Mason, and Averyana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. This Saturday at Cal Expo with Proactive Pest Control, Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
It's Kids Night at Stockton 99 Speedway, Saturday, September 20th, presented by your local Tractor Supply stores. Enjoy free games, prizes, and family fun, plus racing action from late models, legends, pure stocks, and more. Kids 10 and under are always free. Visit Stockton99.com for tickets and info.
Live and local
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
Hi, I'm not Allen Stiles. Whitey Gleason in for Allen Stiles. This has been a very eventful day. We've had a lot of breaking news today. We had breaking news right before the Allen Stiles Show began when we found out that Tom Pelissero reported the 49ers are going to waive Jake Moody. We found out right after the show started that George Kittle was going to be placed on injured reserve. And then Kyle just shared with us a very short time ago that Josh Giddey and the Bulls have come to terms on a 4-year, $100 million deal. So who knows what else is to come before we get to the Drive Guys at 2 o'clock. Appreciate all the feedback and all the participation today on the text line, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. From the 530, we were just talking about how the dynamic kick, what are they calling it? The
dynamic kickoff.
Yes, but they have a word for the new one. The updated dynamic kickoff. Fewer touchbacks so far this year. Touchbacks way down, returns way up from the 530. I thought they were trying to get rid of kickoffs. Why the change back to having more returns? It's a great question. They're kind of chasing their tails. We don't want injuries on the kickoffs. All right, we'll do these rules. Well, now all we get is touchbacks, and we don't want that. We want more returns. So, yeah, at some point, I think Kyle Ledbetter is correct. At some point, and it's probably going to be another 5-6 years, they're just going to do away with kickoffs altogether because more returns is going to be leading to more concussions. And if they're upfront about the reporting on that, then all of a sudden they're at cross purposes again.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing. When the NFL was doing the long, the kickoff rules where it's like everyone would just boot it out the end zone and you started at the 30.
That was just a waste of everybody's time.
It was a waste of time, but no one was really complaining. This is the league who really wants to make the kickoffs a thing again, and it's just not really working. And by the way, I commend them for taking chances. Far too often these sports leagues aren't open to change and don't like the aesthetic changes and things like that. So I commend them for doing it. I just think they're fixing the wrong problem here.
Have you heard the alternative to the onside kick that's been proposed?
Is it the 4th and 15 one? Yeah, I've heard about it. I could go either way on it. Sell me on it if you're interested in it.
I can't sell you on it, and it gets a little wonky, but it basically means that instead of an onside kick, you would give a team a 4th and 15 or whatever they would decide. If they convert it, they get to keep the ball, and it's like converting an onside kick. If you don't, you give up field position. I just think there's so much that's not knowable about it. I could see how one year they do it, and they find like teams are going to the onside kick every play, and they're just, it's like, it's easier than we thought. It's going to be tough to figure out what the yardage should be on that to get it right.
Do they do, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know, do they do this in the UFL league?
I'm not sure. It's a great question.
Because I feel like that's kind of...
that I know of, but I'm not positive.
Because I know that's where the dynamic kickoff came from, was the XFL. Maybe, I know the NFL doesn't have an interest in it, but maybe that's kind of your testing ground to see. But the problem with that too is there's a difference between Patrick Mahomes and AJ McCarron running the 4th and 12 dynamic kick or onside kick.
We were talking about surprise teams from the 530. Colts and Jets will be surprise teams, Kyle. What do you think of that?
It seems like we're both kind of on the same line. The Kevin Seven seemed to agree with that. So
they were both on my list, but both teams were way down the list. I think I have the Colts 7th.
I should also clarify, I'm not saying the Jets are going to make the playoffs. The bar is set so low for the Jets that I'm like, they might have a top 20 offense, which would be the first time in, a decade the Jets have, since that one Ryan Fitzpatrick season 10 years ago.
530. Wasn't everyone drafted in front of Brock Purdy? I said Bailey Zappi. I said, wasn't he drafted ahead of Brock Purdy? I just wasn't 100% positive it was the same draft class.
Yeah.
You're right. Everybody who was drafted in that draft was drafted ahead of Brock Purdy. Absolutely right. 530. Should be like 4th and 30, on the substitute for the onside kick. Maybe, but that's the thing. How do we know? You'd have to do it for a whole season to have any idea. And even then, if you did it at the UFL level, wouldn't necessarily apply to the NFL level. So that's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah, I think 4th and 30 is like, hey, let's just chuck a Hail Mary type of situation. But I don't know. I don't know if it's 4th and 15, 4th and 12. I don't know where you said it. But my philosophy with the onside kick is you should get it about 10% of the time.
Yeah.
That feels like the right amount. It's it's doable, but it's not all the time people are getting it.
4th and 30 is not bad. I don't know what the actual proposal is. We can look it up. Perhaps there's been more than one, but that's not bad. One note here on Jake Moody, who according to reports is going to be waived by the 49ers. John Lund has a podcast. He did 49er pregame stuff for a long time. He worked on their flagship in the Bay Area for a long time. He's a friend of mine. And on X, he says, Kyle Shanahan came into our draft room right after the fateful pick when they drafted Moody. Kyle Shanahan said he wanted a running back but was overruled. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I'm sure it's true if John says that. I don't know if what Kyle Shanahan said was true, but that kind of flies in the face of my theory, which was, my theory was Kyle really wanted Moody himself. He wanted that pick, and that's why he's been sticking with him.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I saw Allen's tweeting again, so I guess
again.
Yeah,
what does he want?
He posted the image of the Squidward meme with the windows, and he's like, Moody cut, Giddey signed for $25 million a year, like I predicted, all while I'm waiting for this baby. And he's having some FOMO right now.
He can call in. It's his show. He can call in or just link up and do a show.
He's got it. This is healthy for him. You know how you said it's healthy for Shanahan, releasing the reins a bit? This is healthy for him.
I hope so. I mean, Alan, it's your show. You can do your show if you want.
Just random, since we're coming back around to Moody for the first time, Matt Mayoko tweeted within the hour, I'm hearing the 49ers' new kicker will not be Greg Joseph.
Ooh.
We did no word on who it will be.
Dustin Hopkins.
All right, I'm still in on Money Badger, but we'll see.
I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
Well,
proven postseason kicker.
But the important thing is it's not going to be Greg Joseph, apparently, which I don't think either of us were really like, oh, wow, what a great pickup that would be.
That leads me to believe that was all a sham, that they brought him in, not because they really wanted to maybe see if he could hold a job, but they just thought, we'll just,
Or they brought him in and Shanahan hated him.
Yes, that's probably sometimes the most obvious answer is the correct answer. Vikings with a big win last night, and they won that game, let's face it, with the help of a couple of former 49ers. Jordan Mason, 15 carries for 68 yards. That's 4.5 yards per carry. And Javon Hargrave, grave digger, 6 pressures and 2 sacks last night for the Minnesota Vikings.
I did think it was funny when he did the door and kick it down thing, because I was like, oh no, that's a Niner thing. What is he doing?
Yeah.
And I thought that was fun just watching Monday Night Football and seeing that.
Debo also for Washington this week at 8 touches for 96 yards and a touchdown. And Talanoa Hufanga had 10 tackles. I think 7 of them were solo in Denver's win. Dre Greenlaw's out for Denver. He's got a quad injury and he's not doing well. They expect him back, but I'm not sure when. So that was a look at some of the former 49ers, how they did this week. I think that's going to be a theme because let's face it, the 49ers got rid of some players this offseason that they admitted they didn't really want to get rid of. And so some of those players are going to do productive things for other teams.
Well, and they don't necessarily have in-house replacements that they are jazzed about right now. It's not like Jair Brown's coming in and lighting things up in training camp or anything. These subtractions, we knew they were going to hurt, but I'm glad you laid out these numbers because now we're starting to see just how it's going to start to shake out for these guys in other places. Because Denver's defense specifically, I know Greenlaw didn't play, but Denver's defense is going to be really good this year.
Yeah.
And Hufanga, when he was healthy, was an all-pro level safety. So if he's even 80% of that, that's going to be huge for Denver, who already has, for my money, the best cornerback in the NFL.
I don't know how much of the Washington game you saw. I only saw what they showed on Red Zone channel, but Debo looked like, hey, that's Debo again. He hasn't looked that way in a while.
The run where he got to the outside and scored a touchdown, I was like, I don't think we've seen that in a year and a half from Debo Samuel. So I guess good for him. I curious how much McLaurin was part of the game plan, knowing that he was only back like a week and had to kind of ramp up for training camp. But hey, if Debo is a solid wide receiver too, the Niners sure could use that right now.
Matt Barrows made a lot of interesting points today when he was on with Carmichael, Dave, and J. Ross. One of the things he mentioned was that he doesn't know why, back to the 49ers, why Garendo has been basically demoted to returning kicks. And that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was a little surprised by the Brian Robinson trade when it happened. And I understand they need something else, but you mentioned Jordan Mason. I saw him breaking tackles for the Vikings last night, and they were pretty quick to move on from him, quick to move on from Garendo. I just don't know why they saw Brian Robinson and were like, we have to have him for basically a 6th-round pick. He could have just picked up one of these other running backs that another team didn't have. So like Michael Carter's still hanging around somewhere. You could have just picked that guy up.
When we come back, we'll get back to Mitch's question. Is kicker the easiest position to find somebody for? Probably not, but what is the easiest position? Also tell you why the Nerds, they were down on the Minnesota Vikings. Are they still after last night? That and more coming up with Whitey in for Styles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Allen Stiles here with your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by DTLA Law Group. Jack Perkins, out with that strained right shoulder, has been shut down from throwing for 3 more weeks. We'll re-image and determine an off-season program. His expected return is TBD. Max Muncy, out with that right hand fracture, began a hitting progression last week and will progress as able. His expected return is possibly late September. That was your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by DTLA Law Group. Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Injured at work? Call downtown. DTLA Law Group, California's leading injury law firm. With over 40 lawyers throughout California, they have won over $500 million in settlements. DTLA Law Group will get you compensation for your work injury. You don't pay unless they win. That's right. You pay 0 up front. Call downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222. Visit them at calldowntown.com. Text charges may apply.
This 49ers Red Zone Report is being brought to you by Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
Purdy looking, bump from behind. Now he rolls out. Still has time. He's pursued, and he throws it. Caught! Hodges got it! And the 49ers take the lead. Darnold looks. Darnold, the ball came out, and Bosa falls on it. Was that a pass or is it a fumble? Might have been an empty hand. And the ruling is 49ers football.
What did we say? Bosa time. Holy smokes. What a play.
Ready, set, win big. When the 49ers win, you score. With 49% off any large pizza, only at Mountain Mike's Pizza. Celebrate every game day with your favorites from our legendary crispy, curly pepperoni, bold sauced up wings, garlic butter drenched sides, and gooey sweet desserts, all hot, fresh, and built for a Niners victory. Download the Mountain Mike's app, join Mountain Rewards, and turn every Niners win into a pizza party. Let's go Niners. Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
The Sacktown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville Outlets. The 49ers got their season started successfully with a last-minute win in Seattle, 17-13. Jake Tonjes, the hero, making a leaping grab in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. Niners back on the road this week in New Orleans. You can catch all the actions on Sunday right here on Sacktown Sports 1140, beginning at 9 a.m.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. KHDK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Whitey, and for Stiles, we have more news. Why don't you go ahead and share that, Kyle, since you saw it?
Yes, from Adam Schefter, Jalen Carter will be fined but not suspended for spitting on Dak Prescott, so he will play in the big Super Bowl rematch against the Philadelphia Eagles. How does my Allen Stiles big game sound? I think he's just doing the NFL Films guy, but he always sounds like the Chiefs.
John Facenda. You know who's amazing? I think we hear him on the station when we go to Westwood One. Have you heard that guy?
Yes.
Here's Tommy Tighe. That guy gets way down there.
He is great. He's been around for years too. So I think he started out doing like local radio, big voice guy stuff. And so like on old clips, I think from like the Dan Le Batard show or something, it's like Dan Le Batard on 11:40 a.m. And it's like, oh man, I wish I had his voice.
Yeah. You're not quite at Allen's level, but Allen's, he works at it more. You just kind of threw that out. So you can't expect to be at Allen's level yet. Allen hones that. That's kind of what he's known for.
Usually when you do an impression, you got to kind of get into character. So the phrase that you go with is the Raiders.
Sure.
Which is how Allen always does it. But yeah, Jalen Carter.
Which is Allen doing Chris Berman doing, like, I think John Facenda was the guy that was the NFL Films narrator in 1978 or whatever.
I think that's what it is. Honestly, I've never really thought about it. It's just kind of existed. But yes, it's Allen impersonating Chris Berman, who is impersonating the old NFL Films guy.
Yeah, when you hear people and they're doing like Harry Carey, they're doing Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey. They've like some of them. I don't even know who Harry Carey is, but that's the guy Will Ferrell used to do.
Yeah, see, they can't do a perfect Harry Carey like you though. You're doing the real thing.
I actually interviewed him once.
Ooh,
it was awesome. It was on the field during the Cubs and the Giants playoff series in 87. Yeah,
I was.
It was awesome.
57.
No. And he was on the field, and we'll move on to football because I know no one cares. He's standing there, and I was on the field trying to get interviews like Harry Carey's there. I was like, hey, can I talk to you? He goes, where are you from? Sacramento. Go ahead. And I kind of stumbled through a few things, but then it was 89. I'm sorry. Of course it was 89 because they won that series.
I went to the World Series,
and then we had the earthquake there. I was there for the earthquake, but that's a whole nother can of worms.
Covering the World Series.
Yes. The Bay Bridge World Series
for the radio station.
Yes. Ugh. Yes. Anyway,
you were at the game when it happened?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what a story.
Yeah. I was ordering a Pepsi when we heard. I remember looking because it was like you could hear it coming, and everyone started. There was a moment of silence. Then everyone was like, "Yeah!" We didn't know what it was. Yeah. And then nothing. Everything shut off. So it's like, "Here's your Coke. It's only half full, but I can't charge you for it because nothing's working." I was like, "Sweet." This is a great day. Having no idea.
They gave it to you for free because the machine.
Because of the earthquake.
Mid-pour, the machine shut off.
Oh, man. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to see what you thought of this notion. We know that last night we had 2 members of that draft class going head-to-head. 2024 NFL draft, right? You had Caleb Williams, the first pick, against the 10th pick, J.J. McCarthy. And we've got a lot of players, quarterbacks in that draft who have done pretty well. I know it's painfully early. What do you think the chances are, dear listener, Kyle Ledbetter, that this draft class of quarterbacks 2024 goes down as one of the best ever? Now, I know it's premature. I know I'm asking you to project, but you had Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2nd. He, to me, is on track to be potentially an all-time great. Drake May, the Patriots, very high on him. Then you go down to Michael Penix Jr., the 8th pick. J.J. McCarthy, the 10th pick. His debut was sensational last night. Bo Nix, the 12th pick, and that was about that. The best draft class ever for quarterbacks is widely considered that Dan Marino 1983 draft class. Let's see. 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round, 3 going on to become Hall of Famers. John Elway, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino combined to go to 23 Pro Bowls. Ken O'Brien, local guy, also made 2 Pro Bowls himself. The other first rounders, Tony Eason and Todd Blackledge. But do you think this draft class 2024, is it just me, or does this not have a chance to go down as one of the greatest of all time?
Well, I think it depends, like anything, how you measure greatest of all time. Is it about the depth? How many starting quarterbacks? Is it about the top-end stars?
It's about how many end up being top-end stars and maybe even winning Super Bowls.
See, that's tough because I think back, obviously the one that everyone points to is 2004.
Sure,
right?
Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger. Those 3 quarterbacks combined for 4 Super Bowls and 18 Pro Bowls. You also had Matt Schaub.
I was going to say, I think there's a random like Matt Schaub who was a 7th rounder or something like that. The other one that's fun, it's not all time, but the 2005 one I think is so funny because it's like Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, nobody, and then like Ryan Fitzpatrick, undrafted.
That is correct.
I love that one.
Also, Jason Campbell, Matt Castle, and Kyle Orton.
Okay,
2005.
How can we forget Kyle Orton? I think he made a Pro Bowl at one point. Maybe. Who cares? Anyways, it's tough.
I don't believe he did, but I'm not certain. Yeah.
It's fine.
But that was, Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, 9 Pro Bowls, 3 MVPs.
Okay, so you have every year available to you.
This is from a Yard Barker piece, and they have the top ones ranked, and the ones you named are highly ranked, so they're near the top.
Gotcha.
But if you have another year, I'll see if I can track it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one I would point to is the more recent ones, right? So the big one everyone points to is 2020, which is now going to be, I guess if you add in Jalen Hurts now, you've got Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and there's another quarterback. I can't remember who, but there's a 5th one too who's an NFL starter.
Jordan Love?
Jordan Love. That's the other one. Yes. So that one I think is the one where you've got like the combination of depth and top-end stars. 2018 is another one people point to also with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It's going to be pretty hard to top that one.
And you're right. 2020, I mean, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. And I think Herbert is going to, I know people disagree. He's very polarizing. I think he's on his way to being an outstanding quarterback and to being viewed as a great quarterback when all said and done.
Allen Stiles hates Justin Herbert, but I will make the point that Justin Herbert last season was a top 5 quarterback in passer rating and has never had a season lower than being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I think Justin Herbert is excellent. Besides the point, though, I don't bring it back to 2024. I don't know if Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Drake May, and I mean, Bo Nix has been good so far. I'm not going to discredit Bo Nix, but I don't think all of those people are going to be long-term starters in the NFL. But if
I think Jaden Daniels is.
I think Jaden Daniels for sure.
And after last night, I know it's just one game. J.J. McCarthy, I mean, he's got a shot.
I think if all 6 of them become something, then I think we have a shot. I don't remember who else was, late in that class who might have a chance to make it a second round pick or something. But I think if all 6 of those guys, Williams, Daniels, May, Penix, McCarthy, Bo Nix, which, by the way, Bo Nix is older than Trey Lance. I cannot emphasize enough that Bo Nix is in his prime right now. I think if all of them become 10-year quarterbacks in the NFL, then yes, we have a shot. I just don't see enough stars in this draft class to make it one of the all-time greats.
For this to be one of the all-time greats, I think Caleb Williams is going to have to at some point find it and become a great Chicago Bear quarterback, which is certainly possible.
I mean, let's look at it this way. You can take 1984, 2004, 2018, maybe 2020, but we'll see. Each of those have minimum 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I know you're big on Jaden Daniels. I think it's hard to say right now that we are for sure going to have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks from this draft class. And I know you could say, well, it's only a year ago, but we knew right away Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson were excellent quarterbacks. We can see it with Jaden Daniels. I don't know if we can see it with the others.
What about 2001, Michael Vick and Drew Brees?
Yes, top end talent is certainly there. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say all-time great, but
2011, Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, Christian Ponder.
And Cam
Newton, Andy Dalton, Colin Kaepernick. Also Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, I think. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Something. This class there has a chance to be one of those that we look at as, oh, that was also a good class. But if Caleb Williams comes through, if he reaches his potential, Jaden Daniels has already done a lot of the heavy lifting. And I know he's got a long ways to go. And then if one of the other players, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix might end up winning Super Bowls. I think this class has a shot.
I'm not the biggest Bo Nix guy, but really? I understand why people like Bo Nix.
He's good, and he's on a good team with a good defense.
Yes.
So I'm saying I didn't say he was great. I said he has a chance to win Super Bowls. What don't you like about him?
So this is it's not that there's anything bad. It's just that he's a game manager. But the other thing is, I've seen him be absolutely atrocious in college, terrible as a college quarterback. And the fact that he is now not just an NFL quarterback, but actually a halfway decent one blows my mind, because that guy at Auburn was terrible, truly a terrible quarterback. And then he ended up working out his last year, transferred to Oregon, had a couple great seasons with a really good team. So it's staggering to me that he's already as good as he is, but I just can't get the image out of my head of that guy being terrible in college, which is the new NFL, right? Cam Ward was at Incarnate Word or something.
Yeah, Spencer Lampkin says you can't really judge by Super Bowls because how many did Marino win? Okay, but you can definitely, in my opinion, judge by Super Bowls. I mean, you just have to make an exception for Dan Marino's case. He didn't win any, but he was great. But still, a guy's winning multiple Super Bowls. Whoop, that's legacy points. There's no way around that.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And look, I'm not the biggest Eli Manning guy, but Eli Manning's going to get into the Hall of Fame based on that merit alone. So it's going to account for something. And the other tough thing about these AFC quarterbacks, which does kind of go back around to this conversation with 2024, is the AFC is the quarterback conference. So it's just so hard to stand out when literally every year for the last 5 years, the final 3 teams have been some combination of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. Versus these guys, it's Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Penix, McCarthy. Those guys could be having battles back and forth in the NFC for a decade.
Don't forget that 2012 quarterback class. Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Ryan Tannehill, Nick Foles, Kirk Cousins. Never mind. Sorry, I brought it up.
Tannehill was decent, but you're Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins leading the charge in that draft class. By the way,
it's fascinating because so many of those guys, it was a few years ago, it's yes, they're great, and now
nah. The one that I think the most fascinating, people talk about Barry Sanders, nothing is more shocking than Andrew Luck, that retirement and everything that happened with that. Because people make the point, Andrew Luck retired at the same age Josh Allen is now. Like, imagine right now Josh Allen retiring. That's what happened when Andrew Luck retired. And people were like, Andrew Luck wasn't that good. No, Andrew Luck was great. He had missed like 20 games with injury and still had more passing yards through 6 seasons than Dan Marino. And it's just shocking that he retired when he did, because he was a Hall of Famer, no question. And that draft class would have had 2 Hall of Famers with him and Russell Wilson.
So you're not buying the 2024 class as one of the greats? And I know nobody knows yet.
No.
Anything can happen.
But I also
feels like I'm further down that path than you are.
I think so. But I think if I'm deducing this right, the biggest reason is that you believe Jaden Daniels is headed for greatness.
I'm an absolute believer in him and his future. I really am.
And I'm not saying that I'm not. I'm saying that I kind of think of him and CJ Stroud in the same way, which is like, I think they're headed there, but with Lamar, we knew it right away. With Mahomes, he won MVP right away. And I'm not saying Jaden Daniels wasn't excellent last year.
But didn't we know it right away with him last year, to your point? He was great.
He was great. And I think there's no way he's going to be a bad quarterback. I think we're just measuring the degrees of how good he is. Like Justin Herbert, right away, we knew he was excellent. And ever since then, it's kind of been like he's that tier 2, some people think tier 3 kind of quarterback. I'm not saying that that's going to happen for Jaden Daniels, but
my belief level, for what it's worth, in Justin Herbert is probably higher than most people, as being, ending up like a widely recognized great quarterback. Like 75% for me.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, I'm like in the 90s.
Okay. So you think Jaden Daniels' ceiling for his career is higher than Justin Herbert?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last year, after the year he had, and then you had Mike Sando's quarterback tiers, which is based on input from talent evaluators. And I think they had him 5th after last year in the league. No, 6th, pardon me. I think it was 6th best quarterback in the whole NFL after one season.
It's tough because people were saying the same thing about CJ Stroud. And I'm not saying CJ Stroud was bad last year. I'm saying CJ Stroud had a terrible offensive line and all his receivers got hurt. It's not to say that's going to happen to the Commandos, but I guess I'm just waiting to see on Jaden Daniels, which is why I'm waiting to see kind of on most of the draft class, which maybe I shouldn't, because the aforementioned Bo Nix is older than Trey Lance and Michael Penix is 26. Like, those guys kind of have to be good now, but the rest of them, I'm willing to wait and see how it goes.
Well, as long as we're leaping to conclusions, which we are because I'm insisting that we do, what did you think of J.J. McCarthy's first start last night? As I said earlier, it was very impressive that he was able to overcome such a slow start when he was playing so poorly. Then he ends up rallying his team to a big come-from-behind win on the road. I thought it was very impressive. And you're talking about quarterbacks' ages. I'm not sure how old he is, but he looks like he's about 17. And he kind of acts like it on the sidelines.
J.J. McCarthy, I want to say he's 24. Oh, no, he's only 22. But I think drafting J.J. McCarthy is a low ceiling, high floor draft pick. Like, watching him in college, there were not things I saw that is like, that guy's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. There was just nothing I saw that was going to be the case. But in the modern NFL, there is a value to a guy who's just quarterback 14. And I think that probably is where J.J. McCarthy's headed. The nice thing about the team that drafted him is that you don't have to be a great quarterback in order to win, because you have Justin Jefferson, who, not saying he's the best wide receiver I've ever seen, but in my very short 15 years of watching football as a little baby child, I've never seen a receiver do the things that Justin Jefferson does.
Yeah, obviously they didn't draft him thinking maybe he'll be quarterback 14, but I do think that it's similar to what the 49ers saw in Brock Purdy. That is, hey, this guy fits what we do. I think that was a big part of it too. The way J.J. McCarthy, as you say, he's got Justin Jefferson, and he's pretty good throwing the ball down the middle of the field, and he's got a guy there. If you put it in that area, he's going to come up with it. Also, he can run a little bit. So, obviously that's a very bold move for them to switch out after the year they had last year. A lot of pundits who are of an analytical bent, I know I touched on this earlier, kind of down on Minnesota this year for 2 reasons. A lot of one-score wins for them, which the analytics people, the math people say, you can't count on that. we as fans go, they win a lot of close games. They must be really tough, or they have a really good this or that. And the analytics people say, no, it's basically luck. And then the other thing is they had a lot of turnovers last year. They forced the most turnovers in the league defensively. And again, the analytics people, say that's tough to sustain. So I don't know if they're right, but after last night, it's pretty clear to me that Minnesota, maybe they won't win 14 games this year, but they're going to be a team to reckon with in the NFC.
I also don't think they're going to lose 14 games is kind of the other point.
Right.
I think I thought Minnesota would be not a playoff team, but in what have we been calling it all day? The
jumble bucket.
The jumble bucket of NFC teams this year, which in their defense, they were far outside of the jumble bucket last year. I mean, they clinched a playoff spot with like 4 weeks left to go in the season last year. So
you probably don't go to the hardware store a lot.
I do not. No.
Okay. If you
How'd you know?
Just a guess. At Ace, they have every so often they have the sale. You get one of their plastic buckets, which are cool because I have one that has baseballs on it because they're an MLB sponsor. But on certain days, you get your bucket and then you fill it with whatever you can, and then there's a set price for that. The bucket full of whatever you can put in it is whatever it costs that day. To me, that's a jumble bucket. Yeah. I've never actually done it, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, for $8.99, or I'm sorry, $89.99, you can get a little Minnesota Vikings, a little Atlanta Falcons, the entire NFC West.
But it's not that much. They don't usually charge that much. That's a cool thing.
Cool. Yeah. So the jumble bucket of NFC teams is long and illustrious, and some of them are going to escape the jumble bucket just based on pure numbers, right?
Green Bay Packers will be out of the jumble bucket, I would think.
I think so, but if you told me they weren't, it's not going to be the most surprising thing in the world. The Vikings were kind of that team last year, though, right? They won 14 games, but they were jumble bucket-y, you might say, and this year they're probably going to go back to that just because of the reasons you mentioned, which I happen to very much agree with. I'm going to hit myself with the nerd drop. Nerds. Yes.
Oh, you agree with the analytics nerds?
Well, I agree with the principle. I'm not saying the Vikings specifically. I'm saying one-score games, completely random. It's a coin toss. You know, you could do 500 of them. You'll probably be 250 and 250. It's one play, one snap here or there. It's why I said the Kings overreacted when they fired Mike Brown. It's like you're losing a lot of one-score games. Don't overreact to losing one-score games. But they didn't do that anyways. I agree with that, and I agree with the turnovers thing. I'm not saying the Vikings will necessarily be that team, but that's a good philosophy to follow.
Yeah, I think the big difference between this year and last year potentially for the Vikings is, let's face it, Sam Darnold, and we saw a little of it Sunday, very talented, but he's like a restrictor plate. He kind of caps what you can accomplish, right?
Yeah.
He's not bad, but he's just never proven that he's that guy that's like, climb on my back and we'll go for a ride in the sky. Is J.J. McCarthy that guy? I don't know. He was to a degree last night. What he did last night is not something we've seen Sam Darnold do much in his career. No slight against Sam Darnold. That's not the point. The point is maybe J.J. McCarthy is a guy to help them maybe not win as many games, but ultimately get further than they got last year.
Well, and the bad news for our friend Sam Darnold is that he's now playing on a team that doesn't have a good offensive line, which the Vikings had a very good offensive line last season. Now, I think Darrisaw's out for them this year, so that's going to hurt quite a bit. But Sam Darnold was running for his life, and he was looking pretty Sam Darnold-y yesterday or on Sunday for the Seahawks against the 49ers.
Seattle Seahawks, jumble bucket or not?
I think this is what I've said about the Seahawks. You don't usually see a team get rid of their offensive coordinator, quarterback, and star wide receiver in an offseason. Maybe it'll work for them, maybe not. They're either going to be in the jumble bucket or win 12 games, and I tend to lean towards probably jumble bucket.
I think there's a good chance that whole division is in the jumble bucket.
You could tell me they all are, and I'd believe it. The Rams are one sneeze from Matthew Stafford away from Jimmy Garoppolo being their starting quarterback. Their defense is not very good. Cardinals are better, but they haven't had a top half defense in the league since the first Bush administration. So I'm not sure what to do with them, and we'll see what happens.
There probably are not. Well, I know there's not enough spots in the bucket or in the playoffs for all the NFC teams that are going to be, at least on the fringe of competing for one of those spots.
Let me ask you this, because I think we all agree the Eagles are the one team that we'd say is not jumble bucket.
Well, I'm going to say Green Bay, but I'm with you. I'll put the Eagles in there
I tend to agree on Green Bay also. What do we do with old Jaden Daniels and the Commanders? Because
they're definitely in the jumble bucket.
they're in the jumble bucket, but I see people saying they're going to win 12 games this year, and 12 games probably gets you out of the jumble bucket by the end of the season. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but people seem to think that's the second best team in the NFC because obviously they were in the NFC Championship last year.
Right. Yeah, as I told you, I'm very high on them, and they'll probably lock down a playoff spot. They'll end up above the fray. They're not going to be one of those, 9-8 teams. Or would be 8-8 at the end of the season. We got to win this game, and then we need Tampa Bay to lose that game, and Atlanta is going to have to win this game by 6 or more. I could see the 49ers in that very scenario when they're finishing their season against Seattle.
And the strangest thing, too, is we have the Eagles at the top, and at the bottom, it's probably the Saints and the Panthers and the Giants. But everyone else is kind of in the jumble bucket.
It's kind of, to me, like the NBA West has been in recent seasons.
That is a really good way to look at it. Yeah, it's that you might be successful, but every team has their holes. Every team has their flaws. And of course, injuries come up. I don't even think Dallas is going to be awful this year. They might be in the jumble bucket. I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs, but I think they'll
be in the bucket.
They'll be in the bucket for a while.
Unless that was a mirage, what we saw Thursday against the Eagles.
Who knows? I think Dallas is a fine football team still. I mean, Micah Parsons leaving sucks, but it's not like they weren't pretty talented before.
Before we go to break, what do you think? I know that Mitch brought up the question, what's the easiest position to fill on a football team? It's not kicker, right? It's definitely not kicker.
Kicker, like I said, it's the thing anyone can do, but not everyone can do. If you want to be a linebacker, you have to be 6'5" to make it in the NFL. So, easiest, again, I don't want to discredit the people who do it, but I feel like a running back, that might be my answer for easiest.
That's been the answer around the league, right? We've seen that. And you've had running backs going, I'm not going to sign my contract because it's disrespectful and they don't respect running backs. And then Saquon Barkley and McCaffrey have kind of proven that's not really the case, but you're right. That's been a very devalued position.
Because I think so much of the running game is a byproduct of your offensive line. So if you give me the Lions from last year, hey, maybe I could, maybe I could rush for it. I'm just kidding. I would probably not die, but I would come pretty close to death if I ever tried to play running back.
That's a great answer. I think you're right. Yeah, when we come back, we'll look at what's going on with the 49ers. A lot going on with them today. And which NFL team saw the biggest changes in their Hope-O-Meter readings in Week 1 next. Whitey in for Style, Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9861. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9861. That's 800-575-9861. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
With football in the air, fall is almost here. Time to start thinking about the cooler weather ahead and whether your heater will be able to get you through the winter. Our heater fell apart last winter, so who did we call? Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. We wanted somebody we could trust to do the job right and deliver great value, and Lee's came through. Check them out at leesair.com. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating has built a reputation as the leading HVAC company in Sacramento. We've got a new HVAC system that works great, saves us money month to month. Find out how they can help you at leesair.com. License number 635355.
For For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's TREX.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. Country in the Park 2 this Saturday at Cal Expo. Along with special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Averyana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. This Saturday at Cal Expo with Proactive Pest Control, Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and Red's Pizzeria and Tap House. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
It's Kids Night at Stockton 99 Speedway, Saturday, September 20th, presented by your local Tractor Supply stores. Enjoy free games, prizes, and family fun, plus racing action from late models, legends, pure stocks, and more. Kids 10 and under are always free. Visit Stockton99.com for tickets and info.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Whitey Gleason in for Allen Stiles. Allen Stiles out on paternity leave. He's been tweeting today, so apparently they're still on paternity watch, or maternity watch, I guess. They're still waiting for the delivery of their second child. So nothing's happened yet.
At least I hope he would be tweeting at the hospital.
If anybody would, right?
now we're taking shots at him on his own show.
Aren't you supposed to tell me to push? Yeah, hold on. I got to tweet something about Keon Ellis here. So I mention this because we appreciate that you're here every day. Tomorrow, I don't think I'm here tomorrow. Tomorrow I should be back on in the afternoons with the drive guys. Kyle Draper is back and Jay, and they're going to be with you top of the hour here. So I know Campio asking where I've been. Yeah, last couple of days, it's been my honor to fill in here for Allen Stiles. So our schedule's a little bit up in the air. Happy to help out Allen here. So, but tomorrow, I'm not sure what's going on in this time slot tomorrow. So we'll all be surprised together.
I think we're all going to find out tomorrow morning.
You'll be here, right?
I will be here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and if I can control it, all 14 shows that Allen Stiles will not be here.
Mm-hmm. Campio, by the way, says Harbor Freight is the bucket fill. So I'm taking him to mean that Harbor Freight also has one of those
the jumbo bucket
promos. Fill the bucket. Whatever you can put in there is X amount.
Yeah.
Set amount. I love it.
Fill it with a little Michael Penix. Fill it with a little Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I still can't believe that Jared Goff stat that he is 0-19-1 as a starting quarterback without Ben Johnson or Sean McVay as his offensive coordinator. It just seems impossible. He's never won a game in 20 starts without McVay or Ben Johnson.
Well, who was he playing for then?
So it was Jeff Fisher for 1 year, and then it was a really bad Lions first year. Remember, they went they got Aiden Hutchinson for it, but they started 1-10-1 or something like that. I think he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was 0-6 with Fisher, 0-11-1 with the Lions his first year, and then now losing yesterday.
I remember clearly I was wrong, but I remember when he got traded to the Lions. Before that, I was saying there is no way anyone is trading for Jared Goff. He was making so much money, and the Rams had given up on him, and I didn't see anybody hitching their wagon to him. But obviously, the guy who ran the Lions and who had drafted him saw something, and they did, and it worked out. But I was shocked when Detroit said, "Nope, he's our guy."
Well, I mean, they had to attach basically a first-round pick to him. I mean, Stafford. Mm-hmm. I remember the other offer that was on the table was Teddy Bridgewater with the Panthers, which obviously was not the greatest quarterback in the world, but it was Teddy Bridgewater and a first going to Detroit. And I think that first round pick would have ended up being Micah Parsons, but it was like Teddy Bridgewater and a first. And the Lions said, no, we'll actually take Jared Goff and 2 firsts. So if you look at Jared Goff and Teddy Bridgewater as about the same at the time, they basically attached a first round pick to move his contract, which is no one would ever do that in today's NFL.
Teddy Bridgewater, we've been talking about NFL quarterback draft classes. That Teddy Bridgewater draft was an interesting one.
2014? Yeah, it was Derek Carr, I think, was in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And before I say anything, I just want to look at it to make sure I don't make any mistakes here. Oh, it's not loading.
Was that
Blake Bortles?
I want to say that was the Blake Bortles, not EJ Manuel, but there was another bad first-round quarterback in there.
Blake Bortles went 3rd. And then you go down to, with the 22nd pick, the Cleveland Browns select Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Football, because you know the story about that, right? About why they picked him with the owner?
Why?
Apparently, a homeless man told the owner that he should take Johnny Manziel, and so the owner demanded they take Johnny Manziel.
I don't think I'm going to believe you on that one.
That is a real story. That was reported in a newspaper that an unhoused man told the owner on the street to take Johnny Manziel, and then they took Johnny Manziel.
Teddy Bridgewater, 32nd, last pick of the first round to the Vikings. Derek Carr, second round pick, 36 to the Raiders. If you remember them, the Oakland Raiders.
Yes. Oh, it's funny that we brought up Derek Carr because I feel like Jared Goff is kind of the new Derek Carr, which is he is as good as the team you put around him, right? If you surround him with great play calling and a great offensive line, you can do some things with Jared Goff. We've seen him go to a Super Bowl, and now it's not working.
I don't think that's fair. Obviously, there are some comparisons, and that argument holds up somewhat. But to me, just given the success Goff had in the postseason, to me, it's not fair to him to compare him to Derek Carr. And I don't have anything against Derek Carr.
Did Derek Carr ever start a playoff game? I'm trying to think. Because he didn't play with the Raiders.
Well, he had a lot. Didn't he lose that playoff game to the Bengals? Wild card game.
He did, yes. Ago. So he I forgot. The year they fired the coach for publicly being, kind of a bigot. Yes, Derek Carr did lose in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he was Charlie Checkdown. Derek Carr was Charlie Checkdown.
Oh, absolutely. But Jared Goff at this day and age is the classic, volume passer. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown is not really like making these crazy catches. He's the big reception guy. So, well, the other thing that's tough for the Lions now is like they had a Hall of Fame center retire and they just did not replace him at all. So now Jared Goff is going to be running for his life when he has to play the great defensive tackles of the NFL.
Not to put you on the spot, I shouldn't ask this question. I should know it, but do you know who Detroit plays this week?
I do not, but I think I have the schedule up here. They are home against the Ben Johnson Chicago Bears.
I think that's a get-right game for the Lions.
I tend to think so, too. You want to guess what the spread is?
It's clearly Lions are given 6.
You're pretty much right. 5.5.
Okay.
I like to think this is a get-right game for them.
I know you guys talked about the Hope-O-Meter piece that was in, The Athletic, I think. One game into the season, which teams do you think, Kyle, have seen the biggest changes in their Hope-O-Meter readings? And I'm just talking about for fans, for fan bases here. Well, I know Pittsburgh fans are great football fans, so they were probably optimistic, but Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, I got to think that's going to bump up your Hope-O-Meter readings a little bit.
I like to think so. Aaron Rodgers is not dead yet. My death was greatly exaggerated for Aaron Rodgers. There is an easy answer here because in the actual Athletic piece, there was one team that was 7% optimistic, only 7% of their fan base. That was the lowest in the NFL going into the season. Do you think you might know who that team was?
I'm not going to waste anybody's time. I'm not sure.
It was the Indianapolis Colts who came out and beat the snot out of the Miami Dolphins.
They really did. I don't know if Dolphins have snot. They probably have some,
mucus.
Aquatic mammalian equivalent of it, but you're right, they did.
All right, let's Google, do dolphins have mucus on the company Wi-Fi?
I didn't mean to take the show down this
let's see.
dark and frankly slimy path.
Yes, dolphins have mucus, which plays a crucial role in their biology, including lubricating and protecting their eyes with a tear-like film.
I read somewhere that dolphins, when they're sleeping, they open their eyes every so often. And the reason they do that is so they don't get attacked by sharks. So they're sleeping, but every so often the eyes open and they go back to sleep. Boop, boop, boop. Anyway, of course they have mucus. They're mammals.
Yeah, according to a BBC story from 2019, dolphin snot is used to look at the health of a pod.
I didn't know we'd be talking about that today. Alan's going, what are they doing? What is going on my show?
If Alan is listening, don't worry. We talked about Josh Giddey, and we met our Kaminga quota for the day.
We did. We absolutely
Which, by the way, Whitey, I don't know if you know this on our show, but we have a running gag going that every single day we've been running the tankathon.
Yes, I did it yesterday. I did it for you guys, and they came in second.
They came in second?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so do we want to run the tankathon again today?
Of course.
We got to keep it going.
It's a tradition. Do you have it, or should I do it?
I've got it right here.
Go ahead.
With the 9th pick in the draft for the Sacramento Kings, they will select the bad boozer. So,
do you remember that I did that with you when we were doing a show together?
Yes.
That was the first time we did it, and you cheated, and you said, I got it there first, and clearly you were making it up.
It's for the bit, Whitey.
I know it was. I know it was.
No, they moved down. The Toronto Raptors, first pick in the draft. So congratulations. They will get AJ Dubance.
Toronto Raptor fanatic.
Yeah, our favorite logical Raptors fanatic.
Raptors fanatic.
We'll be very happy. But yes, so we got 2nd and 9th. At one point, I was coming up with a list of like what our percentages are now that we've been doing it for like 2 months.
That's no fun. That's going to be low.
No, it's going to be boring, but it was higher than you would expect. So either we've been very lucky or Alan is lying and fudging the numbers.
Yeah, I didn't mean it was going to be boring. I just thought it would be depressing, but it sounds like it
was like 45% of the time they get a top 4 pick, but naturally it should be like 30%. So either we're really lucky or Alan's lying about how often we're getting a top pick.
What do you think happened to the Hopometer as far as Dallas Cowboy fans are concerned? They were obviously beside themselves. They were very angry after the trade, and then they almost beat the Eagles. I'm sure they're still very upset and angry about the Micah Parsons trade, but I'm wondering if maybe the Hopometer readings went up a little bit on that Thursday night.
I'd say probably resigned. So they were 30th out of 32 teams coming into the season. I would say they're probably about this, right? You're not feeling as bad as the Dolphins, but you're also probably not feeling great because you lost to the Eagles. So I'd say the Hopometer has stayed about the same.
About the same? Yeah, I think it might have inched up a little bit, but you're right. They're still dealing with the Micah Parsons trade. And what's your best guess on the 49ers?
I would imagine the 49ers has gone down.
After a win on the road?
Because of the injuries and the Jake Moody.
But Jake Moody getting waived, that's gonna hike it. So it's gonna spike.
They were at 68% coming into the season. I would imagine after Jake Moody, it's up to 80%. Everyone's united and finally Jake Moody is gone.
Oh, it's been a roller coaster ride, hasn't it? It's been like the Kings last couple of seasons, being a 49er fan just this year so far. And we're only obviously 1 game in. When we come back, crosstalk with KD if he's around. I don't know. Have we seen him? Yeah. We'll see. We may have crosstalk coming up. Also, did Purdy win the game for the 49ers or did they win in spite of him? We'll wrap it up. Whitey in for Allen today on Sacktown Sports.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words micro, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 micro. Pure Talk, Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet? RV wins! Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach? RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The deals are on now at the model year-end sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save on year-end models and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Listen to the 49er Rewind daily. Brought to you by Mountain Mike's Pizza, the official pizza of the 49ers. Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza, the way it ought to be.
Live and local
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm just counting crows here. It's the Drive Guys. Whitey in for Allen Stiles. Yes. Jake Moody waived by the 49ers. ESPN breaks down his sad, brief history as a 49er. You know how many field goals he made? His percentage as a rookie? 84% of his field goals as a rookie he made.
Wow.
A big leg, 84%. 61 extra point tries. How many did he make as a rookie? 60!
Every single one?
60 of 61.
Oh.
Yeah. So he did miss one.
Huh. Which one was that? Do you know?
I don't off the top of my head.
Just curious. It might have been in the Super Bowl.
In the narrow loss to the Chiefs, he briefly held the record for the longest made field goal in a Super Bowl, 55 yards. Hit another 50-plus yarder later in the game. Also had, extra point blocked in regulation in the game the Niners lost in overtime. And then
Chiefs.
You fast forward to 2024. He made 13 of 14 to open the season.
That means he's a great kicker, right?
Uh-huh. And then what happened? He suffered that, I call it a high right ankle sprain. Kept him out till week 10. When he returned, never found it. Of his final 20 attempts last year, he made 11. And his overall conversion rate last year, 70.6%, ranked 35th in the NFL. That's not good. On the other hand, he was great, or at least very good, until he suffered the high ankle sprain.
35 is crazy when there's only 32 teams. That's just hilarious.
Some people wheel in their, kickers for because of injury and things of that nature.
They're still dragging Greg Joseph around,
Uh-huh.
Stephen Hauschka, is he still being dragged out here?
The Niners brought in Greg Joseph in the offseason, and it was presented in such a way that they would have him compete with Jake Moody. Maybe they seriously were looking at Greg Joseph. Maybe this was just a way of sending a message to Jake Moody. Maybe they were trying to get him to lock in. Hey, lock in. Lock in. Maybe Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch figured, you know what? We'll just put his feet to the fire a little bit. He'll respond to that. But Greg Joseph remains a free agent. And Kyle Ledbetter reported today, he shared the report from Matt Mayoko. It doesn't look like Greg Joseph's going to be the next kicker, huh?
Well, according to Matt Mayoko, he is not. We don't know who it is going to be, but Matt Mayoko's saying Greg Joseph off the table for the 49ers. You're in on Dustin Hopkins, bringing him back around, age 34. I'm in on the Money Badger, Michael Badgley, who was pretty good.
I would not have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, and there's a handful of other options out there. Not a ton, but a handful of options. So we'll see what they end up deciding to go with. We know it's going to happen in the next week because they can't.
Yeah, good chance of that, huh? The Niners, of course, selected Moody in the 3rd round of the 2023 draft. And again, I've mentioned this, the segment that Matt Barrows did today with Carmichael, Dave, and J. Ross. It was a great segment. And one of the things Matt Barrows said is that when the 49ers drafted Jake Moody in the 2023 draft, they thought he's the best kicker to come out of the draft in a long time. We don't really like spending a lot of time on special teams. So you take this guy, plug him in. We don't have to worry about that for a while. Didn't quite work out that way, Kyle.
Oh, they had to worry about it.
They're still worried about it.
Yeah.
They're even more worried about it now than they were.
But for those wonderful 10 months minus that one game against the Browns that they lost on a last-second field goal, other than that, for 10 months, they didn't have to worry about the kicker.
It's really unusual. And like everybody else, I was saying, yeah, they got to move on. But he was very good in the beginning, especially as a young kicker. All right, little bit of inconsistency, but that's okay. He's on track to be excellent. And then he was fine until he got hurt. And then once he got hurt, it all seemed to unravel.
Yep. And little mechanic changes, you get in your own head, little things like that can make a difference. You're breaking up fights between Deebo Samuel and the long snapper, little things like that end up messing with your ability to kick.
Yeah, when Deebo went after him, and when I say went after him, just told him to lock in, I don't know if that was a symptom of what was already being said or if that was kind of a change of things, if that was a sea change, if everyone on the team saw that and said, wow, if that was an indication all of a sudden that if teams just, the team, not teams, if the 49ers lost faith in him right then, and once the team loses faith in the kicker, no matter how the coach feels, you got a problem.
Yeah, and I will say, because Jake Moody's probably having a pretty tough day today, and Niner fans piling on hasn't helped, but this is not an uncommon thing that happens to NFL kickers. We've seen plenty of stories of kickers who, for one reason or another, go from being great to bad. I mentioned Younghoe Koo earlier, who went from being terrible on the Chargers to then a Pro Bowler on the Falcons to now I saw they just added a kicker to their practice squad in the last couple hours, the Falcons did. So it kind of comes and goes with these kickers. It's not the end of Jake Moody's career by any stretch. There's always a team looking for a kicker. So it's just unfortunate that it's not going to work out in San Francisco for him and for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, who really wanted it to work.
Of course, the other 49er news today is word that they have placed George Kittle on injured reserve with that hamstring injury. I didn't realize this. We looked ahead at the schedule. Is this Nick Wagner, ESPN, pointing out that the 49ers have 4 games scheduled in the next 23 days.
Is that because of a Thursday night game?
Because of, short weeks or weeks in there somewhere. But 4 games scheduled in the next 23 days. So it's like, George's going to be out a while. So he's going on injured reserve and will miss games at New Orleans, home against Arizona and Jacksonville, and at the Los Angeles Rams.
That Rams game is going to be pretty important in the gosh, why can I not? What have we been calling it?
Jumbo bucket.
Jumbo bucket of an NFC this year.
Jumbo bucket. That's that old Cool in the Gang song. Jumbo bucket. Jumbo bucket.
Jumbo bucket.
Yeah. The earliest that Kittle could return would be for the October 12th game at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So see, they come off a Thursday night game against the Rams, and so he would have some additional time to rest and recover.
I guess fingers crossed if you're a 49er fan that it's only those 4 weeks, because unless we have more crazy Jake Tongs, unless we have more of those crazy touchdown catches, the Niners don't really have much of a pass catching tight end. Hey, you know what? I just realized Shanahan said Ayuk week 6, Kittle return week 6. All you got to do is just make it to week 6, and all of your problems are going to be solved, right, Niner fans?
And Kyle, dear listener, we may have a clue as to who the next 49er kicker will be, all kidding aside. According to Adam Schefter, the 49ers are working out veteran kicker Eddie Pinheiro as a possible replacement. Eddie Pinheiro visiting the 49ers today.
Okay.
Former Carolina Panther, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember him on the Bears too. let's see. Wow, he's been on a lot of teams, but yes, was a Bear, Jet for a half a season, Carolina Panthers for 3 years before the Panthers decided to go in another direction. Just looking at his career 88% field goal kicker. He is 111 for 126.
What's his longest?
His longest is 56.
Up and good.
In 2023 on the Carolina Panthers, made 84% of his kicks, 92% of his extra points. So decent kicker. Seems like he can make a 50-yard field goal now and again too.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the 49ers with a game this week, they don't have a lot of time to, all right, thanks, Eddie. We're going to bring in some other guys this week and we'll get back to you. You got to get this resolved. You got to have a kicker in place to be your place kicker.
The other thing I also just remembered, and this is just really unfortunate for him, just a tough break, but he was the kicker who came in after the double doink for the Bears too, which that's like trying to replace not Aaron Rodgers, but that's like the worst possible situation for a kicker to walk into is replacing the guy who did the double doink, whose name is escaping me now. But if you can navigate that, you can navigate any situation. This is a cakewalk. If replacing Jake Moody is a cakewalk compared to replacing double doink guy.
I'm just seeing here, and this is a theme with kickers. Eddie Pinheiro, 2020, he struggled with a groin injury, prevented him from kicking in training camp and resulted in him being placed on injured reserve. But that happens a lot with kickers. We think of kicking as just being you stand there and have what's so hard about that? But that happens a lot with kickers. It was somebody else. I think it was it your guy who, Badgley, I think, had a great year and then like tore a quad or something. So that's one of the reasons kickers are on a team and then they're gone. When your kicker gets hurt, you don't wait for him to get better. You just get another one.
Yeah, there's no point. I mean, your kicker just kind of cycles through pretty quickly. And, there's a handful of them that come in every year. And like we mentioned, people you thought were left for dead in the league all of a sudden reemerge and are great kickers all of a sudden.
Yeah, so that's what we hear from Adam Schefter. Eddie Pinheiro, the former, as you said, Kyle, the former Raider. I'm trying not to name the teams that he was on the practice squad of. Former Raider and Bear and Jet and Panther. Eddie Pinheiro may be the guy meeting with the 49ers working out for them today.
Hey, good luck. It just try and get one that's decent.
Yeah.
You never know which one is going to hit and which one isn't. But
unfortunately, after Jake Moody, the bar is low. Just don't kick the ball off that bar. Thanks for being with us. We've got the Drive Guys coming up next. Thank you very much, Kyle. And thanks to all the Allen Stiles listeners for bearing with me. Drive Guys next on Sacktown Sports.
Don't forget my podcast.
Gotta go. The Drive Guys.